What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros podcast. I'm your host, Resident Daryl, and tonight I have the bearded nerd with us. What's up, Zach?
What's happening, Captain?
Hey, so I was having a conversation with some of my GTTSC compadres, some of my brethren in the trophy hunting sphere, and more people are joining this rarity event that we have. Now, if you guys have been listening to the Loot Bros podcast for any amount of time, you know that our good friend Gareth has been sponsoring a trophy rarity event that will last through the year, and he's doing a ton of work in the background to make sure all this adds up. And with that being said, more and more people are joining. So the running joke is, Zach, every time someone joins, you have been demoted to another position lower. So it's so funny because Rick goes, yep, and just like that, Zach is now 27th.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yep. So how are you doing tonight, brother?
I would be remiss to say that if my PlayStation worked, I'd actually play it. But
yeah. You should fix that. That's a real big problem that you got there.
I had to do pretty things like this. See this thing right
I'm
here.
not like, you can do a shell swap of a Game Boy SP, but you can't turn on your PlayStation. Come on, dude.
Wait, ready? Well, let me play the sound for you.
That's a pretty sound.
It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite sounds.
You know what really makes my dingy tingle? The PlayStation, the PSP sound. When that turns on, that's like mega nostalgia. It's like a shot in the arm.
I'd rather have PS1 sound.
That's a good one. It's no PSP, but it's a good one. So, all right, we have Mr. Starscream himself, the Matacon, in the house. How are you doing?
Keep calling me Starscream, and I'll take over your show.
Hey, you know
which
what?
I kind of did tonight when you consider all things. I came up with the topic. I came up with the guests.
Nice. It's nice to see someone showing a little ownership and putting a little skin in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I appreciate it.
Named Thomas. Thomas couldn't be here tonight, so I had to step up and give the cheap plugs and pops.
Hey, you know what? My man has found his pocket. The late great theologian Dr. Phil said that all kids will find their role in the household. And if you think about the Loot Bros cast as a house, all right, me being Papa Loot, and then you guys being my offspring, as you will. Thomas came in and he's just like, I need a role. Boom, found it. And he is the plug master. That dude is just plugging everything. He's like walking around with flex tape and just every time throwing it out there.
So tonight I have to be the plug master because I have to go out there and plug Thomas's Hunter Houston ESG podcast, which you need to go out there and take care of.
Right. Like, share, subscribe.
And Kalai out there wanted us to give a shout out, and I have to scroll back 20 pages in our Discord chat to Emiliano, her good friend in Italy. So
very nice.
Make sure give him some love when he joins up with the group.
She paid handsomely for that shout out. So Emiliano, welcome to the fold. All right. So we have a couple guests tonight. Now, these two gentlemen, one of them is better than the other, not because I know anything about them outside of where they live. So there's a hint of bias there. But I've been hearing a lot about these guys. Now, Matt, the Starscream himself, has been in our group for, I would say easily a year, talking about this website. And he's like, man, this channel 3, guys, you got to get on channel 3. He's like, literally turn the dial on the TV to 3, put in your RF adapter. You can play in the Nintendo. I promise you it works. And so he's been pitching you guys and what you do for a while. So I'm very excited to have you. And I'm thankful for Mr. Starscream for organizing this little chat tonight. So we have in the house first from channel 3, we have Dan. How are you doing?
I'm terrified now that you said you're excited by this, and I really have to lower the expectations immediately. But other than that, I'm good. My voice is working for the first time in a week, so the timing is perfect.
So you saved it for us, is what you're saying?
Yes, and put an incredible amount of steroids into my system to make it work.
You know what? Here in the Loot Bros podcast, we're all about the steroids. However you got to take them. Between your knuckles, in your butt, in the veins, whatever. No shame. So, and then now your name is stuck in the break on the white of your window seal, but it looks like it says Hector. Is that correct?
It does say Hector because I never know what I'm supposed to introduce myself as now because everyone I talk to is online and through gaming. So everyone calls me Ray online. But
Who the
before
hell's Hector?
I was saying before I did any of this gaming stuff, I've never had a nickname in my life. Like it was everybody called me Hector, and then all of a sudden one day I was Ray. So
There you
I
go.
don't know what I'm doing anymore.
There you go. I used to be Mudzilla, and then I realized that when people yell "mud" in a Xbox Live Party chat, it didn't click in. So I changed my name from Mudzilla to Resident Daryl, and I'm like, well, I don't have a nickname either. Never had one in my life. I'm like, so what would be what could I game tag? I'm like, well, I like Resident Evil. My name's Daryl. Boom. It's literal magic. Been Resident Daryl for like 25 years now. Not really. However long, Xbox Live, 2006. So maybe give it a year of being some weird gamer tag, and then I changed it. So awesome, Hector or Ray. It's good to have you. I thought Ray was the name that was thrown in the chat before. I thought he said Dan and Ray at
I'm
one
sure
point in
it was.
time. And so whenever I saw Hector pop up, I'm like, who is this imposter? I don't know you. That's my purse.
I'm confused because currently he's drinking Coke out of a can, which normally maybe he does Diet Coke, but usually it's the Mexican Coke in the glass bottle. So I am concerned that there is in fact an imposter named Hector who's taken over here.
I mean, I'm in a weird spot. I haven't gone to Costco. I'm actually going to visit Jersey up next week. So I'm all out of glass bottles right now.
He's got sleeves on.
I'm
What
wearing
is going
sleeves.
on?
Well, I had to wear my favorite Channel 3 shirt. This is probably my favorite one.
There you go.
The Wordle Channel 3 shirt.
Well, hey, when you're packing your bag for your trip to Jersey, remember to pack big gulp sodas and plenty of plastic bags and plastic straws. Take them up there. Start yourself a little side hustle. You will be a very wealthy man coming back because they're dying up there in Jersey. They'll buy all the trash in the world, but they won't use plastic bags. Craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming on here and putting up with our nonsense. I promise you it will be a show full of crap. You will leave tonight dumber. You will have burnt brain cells you didn't know you had to spare. And you'll go, man, why did I waste my life with these jabronis over here? But
accurate.
You'll be forever changed. I promise you that. So here we go. What were you going to say, Dan?
I just can't wait because I've listened to the podcast. So now I have this thing that I've always been concerned about if I ever met people from a podcast. I'm like, too comfortable because I feel like I've heard too many interactions. So I can't wait to see how that goes.
So you said you've listened to this podcast before?
I have listened to this podcast. The other problem is that Matt told me to bring a broken glass bottle when the Starscream thing happened. So I smashed it off mic. And
early.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do from where I'm at, but he told me to come prepared for a fight. And I did.
Well, there you go.
So the secret, Daryl, is Dan and I have been friends since college in 2001-ish, 2002. So he's got my back. Keep calling me Starscream. I'm going to put him in connection with Hector Ray over there. We're going to find some South Carolina bumpkin to come after.
First, let's do it.
That's not hard.
I haven't had a posse up in a few years. I don't know what's going on here, but whatever.
2002 was 5th grade. I don't know what you're talking about college. 2002 was 5th grade.
He's another youngin', Zach.
I say 2000.
No, I'm young too, so it's okay.
2002. I was tongue kissing my wife.
Whoa. I was in 1st grade actually, so I'm 1 year younger than you.
Oh, there you go.
Let me do some math here, some quick math. I've been with my wife since 2001. Yes. So yeah, 2002, we were well past holding hands. We were kissing on the cheek.
You're old. We understand.
That's right. Speaking of being old, let's get some caffeine in this system. All right, guys, this is the Loot Bros podcast. Each and every week we come together. We talk nonsense. We talk video games. Liquid Death is really good water, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But
too.
We come before every show and we toast to our Patreon producers. So I want to give a shout out and a nice little toast. Oh, I'm not going to finish that yet. Just going to start it off.
Hurry up.
To our Patreon producers, I want to give a shout out to Sadek. My name is Mayo, MZ Nitro, and Sir Starscream himself. It is the Ender Phoenix. Thank you so much, guys, for all your support. And wait. I did want to give a little extra for worldwide franchise Jimmy Ryan, fighting the good fight, showing the FTC and lion crying Phil Spencer who the boss is. Let's go.
So why is it spicy?
That's real good. Hey, Matt. Okay, there you go. You scared me for a little bit. You started to turn a little bit of a reverse flash. You got a little blurry face right there. I thought you were going to start, speaking in tongues or something weird. All right. So what we're going to do, guys, before we get into the show proper, is we're going to go around and talk about the games and the things that we've been playing. We're going to start with our guests. Okay, so you guys can tell us a little about what you've been playing, what you've been doing, what you've been reading. You can totally make something up that is completely so far fetched. I'll never know the difference. So, but we'll start with Dan. What you been up to, brother?
So, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not going to start a whole.
All right,
Zelda
let's
fight
go
here.
on to Hector. I'm
Not-
just kidding.
I'm not-
I'm just kidding.
I'm not prepared for this. I'm but listen, I thought I was going for the end game. I'm just going to say that much. I thought I was going to Hyrule Castle. I was like, all right, I'm going to finish this thing. Let's go. I've got to get ready for. There's too many games in the backlog. Too many games coming out here. I don't want to deal with any backlog challenge with you guys. I don't have time for that. But and then I found out that much like there has been this entire game, there's an entire extra end game that I didn't expect. So working through that, I'm working my way through Horizon Zero Dawn. Either I'm playing the Switch or I'm playing the PlayStation. I'm trying to keep myself to one game at a time right now.
That's
right.
hard.
We do a lot of Fall Guys. We do a lot of Fortnite. We do some of that stuff kind of with the group, Smash Brothers, stuff like that. But right now, those are my two primary games. Zelda, I'm making my push for the end game just so I can finish it. I could play that game for another 300 hours probably and never finish it. But otherwise, I'm trying to get the Horizons in because they, I feel like they get lost in the wake every time they release a Horizon game or they release a DLC for it. Some other massive update comes out to elbow it, and that game deserves more attention than it gets. So I'm here to just push for Horizon while I'm at it.
I agree. If worldwide franchise Jimmy Ryan is doing anything wrong, it's allowing Horizon to be overshadowed by other games that are clearly inferior.
They've really got to look at the release schedule if they do a third one. That's all it comes down to. Whatever it is, bump it 6 months. They can't keep getting trounced like this. Games are too good to get left behind.
It'll go up against Elden Ring's DLC.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, or Elden Ring 2, something crazy. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I got to say, no one's perfect, right? And here on Loot Bros Podcast, we are fair, we're balanced, we are right down the line, no BS. We don't play no favorites, no bias here. All right, but you know what, Jimmy Ryan, where you could do better, you could take better. So what if there's 20 million units? I mean, you could be 25 million if you didn't have it behind Zelda. That's all I'm saying. So awesome, Dan. Well, I'm sad that you're playing Nintendo, but I'm glad that you're playing PlayStation. Again, fair and balanced, right in the middle.
Don't let him talk down to you, Dan.
Listen, I'm just waiting for the discussion later because that's where the gloves come off.
There you go. I'm just kidding. I've been playing a little bit of Nintendo myself, so don't worry. I got.
You've been playing with your Nintendo? What?
Yeah. Nintendo, don't test me, brother. All right, so Hector, Mr. Ray, how are you doing, and what have you been playing?
I think I'm on the same spot that Dan is in Tears of the Kingdom. Actually, he mentioned that extra end game, and I'm pretty sure I got caught in the same spot, thinking, "Oh, this is the end of the game." And like, no, you need to leave and then come back again later. And so I'm trying to get through that and trying to stick with one game per system. So I'm on the Tears of the Kingdom for my Switch. I'm still playing Hogwarts on my PC. I mean, it should have been finished by now, but every time I go to play, I end up playing Fortnite again or some other multiplayer game because I'm on the night. I just want to play on the night and chat with people while I'm playing. There was a beta that I played, the X Defiant. I was
so good.
I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of it. I haven't been playing Call of Duty. I turned on Warzone once or twice. I just don't love it, but I played X Defiant. I had a really good time with it, so I'm waiting for that to come
I hear
out.
that's much better than it has any right to be.
X Defiant is so good. It's
That's
free to play team shooter.
That's a terrible name, but I'm glad.
It's Ubisoft. Ubisoft has terrible names.
Sure. Yes. So, wasn't it at one point in time a Tom Clancy spin-off? Wasn't it Tom Clancy?
It was Tom Clancy's X Defiant originally. Then they dropped that.
Yeah,
but they kept the characters. So
I kind of like the Tom Clancy's X Defiant a little bit better, I guess, but maybe not. Maybe. I mean,
listen, the man's been dead for like a decade. Stop dragging his name out and throwing it. They're still releasing books saying Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan Jr. and he's been dead for over a decade. Like, let the man rest, okay?
Tom Clancy's got. I like it. I see Tom Clancy immediately. I zone in. I'm like, hey, I recognize that, and I like old Mr. Clancy stuff. Don't like the chips. The Clancy chips, not good. Tom Clancy books, they're good though. So, all right. Is there anything else from you, Hector? You got anything else you want to surprise us with?
One day I'll finish the Kingdom Hearts games, but I have them on the Switch, and I end up playing some other first-party Nintendo game instead, and I never get to them.
I get that.
That's my big failure.
No, well,
I've
we
got
all
2 to
have
go.
our flaws.
I've got 2 to go.
So, all right, let's go. All hail the bearded nerd. I was going to say Starscream, and I changed.
Yeah. So by day, I have been playing Diablo 4, and by night, I've been playing Pokemon Emerald again. Yeah, I know it's a weird combination. So, I picked up the Game Boy Advance, and then I was browsing through this new place that everyone's raving about called Temu. That actually, it's like Wish, but actually has quality products. So I picked up a couple of repro carts. I know, naughty. And I was like, I have to have this. I was like, I'm not paying $120 for a copy of Pokemon Emerald. It's just not happening. I'm sorry. So Diablo 4 pushing in game. I already finished the story. Pretty much just grinding out levels at this point. So I can kill the Echo of Lilith in World Tier 4. And then in Emerald, I just started a couple days ago, so not too terribly far in. Just been playing it for like 30 minutes before I go to sleep.
Starter.
Start Trico.
You're dead to me.
I like Torchic, but that's who I normally pick. And I wanted to kind of get outside of that norm. Why you pick? Please don't tell me you picked Mudkip.
No.
Okay.
Fire starters all day, every day. It doesn't matter how many times I've played a game.
Did you have to ask? Could told you it was
Seriously?
fire.
Bro.
Any tragic Diablo 4 hardcore and death stories?
Man,
I said,
man. So we spent 3 hours trying to kill Elias the first time. Because I have a buddy that's at 67, and then we had another buddy that's at is at 69. So we were going in to beat Elias so we could push World Tier 4, and it took us 3 hours just to beat Elias to unlock World Tier 4. It was annoying. I got in at like 1 a.m. and I was like, looked at the clock over and I was like, oh shit, it's 4:30 in the morning. We wasted so much gold, incense, potions, and stuff like that, and we were just cussing it. I'm sitting here like, I think I was only 56 when we tried doing it. So yeah, I was only 56, so I was just like, doop, one tap. Doop, one tap. I was just like, I'm pretty much useless here, guys. I don't know why we brought me into this dungeon for 4 hours, but all right. It's been no, but I enjoyed the game. I am enjoying grinding a game that's not like a shooter where it's competitive and it makes you feel really bad because I'm good old man Paul that just wants to get off of work and play some Call of Duty instead of getting shit on by a 14-year-old. And so it's been nice playing a game that I can play fun ish.
Interesting. All right. Well, then I'll bring up the rear with a laundry list of games. So we were eliminated we're recording on Thursday. We were eliminated Monday morning, late Sunday evening. Yeah. In the GTTSC trophy hunting competition, we made it through up to the quarterfinals. We were week 13, and it got freaking nasty. Now, I did in the beginning, I think, of the last episode, I did do a little blurb about that. So I won't bore everybody with our trophy hunting woes, but played a ton of fun games. Some of them I am very excited to get back to, one of which being Killzone Liberation. Killzone Liberation has just been added to the PlayStation Plus Premium service. This is the Killzone PSP game that now has been up-res and given a trophy list. And it is awesome. It is a super fun game. I don't know if anybody's ever played it before. I'm a huge PSP nerd, and playing that on my PSP Go with these giant hands and the little baby keyboard, you know what I'm saying? That's where I played it. I own it on PSP proper, but playing it on the PlayStation, it's so good. I freaking love that game. Let's see. I've been playing a little bit of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We did our game club on it last week. So if you're listening to the episode today and you haven't listened to the episode before, we did a game club and our backlog beatdown kind of halfway review of kind of where we're at. That game, it's wasn't my favorite. You guys all seem to really
there was a
it.
beatdown on that game by you last week from what I had heard.
A little bit. But you know what, though? I've gone back to it since. After listening to everyone talk about how the ending is really good and how the boss fights at the end are really good, I've decided I'm going to push through and I will continue the game, even though I wasn't loving it. But I do think, and I tried to make note of this, the circumstances maybe weren't the best. You know, I was pressed for trophies, pressed for time. You know, each week we had to get a certain amount of score, and here I am getting lost in this endless loop of a trash map. So I'm gonna give it. Hey, I got nothing holding me back now, so I'm gonna give it a fresh go. Played some AEW Fight Forever. Have you guys played AEW yet?
I've not. We've had people on our site kind of pushing for this one. I heard some of the conversation from last week's episode, and the push for the Switch in this conversation's particularly caught my attention. So I'm curious to hear more.
So I said, I believe last episode I was going to wait, and I was going to thrift / resell my way to buying the game on console and on the Switch. I watched a video on YouTube. There's a YouTuber called Mr. Rightway that I enjoy. Super awesome, pleasant guy. Just he loves games. He's always out hunting games. If you're looking for just somebody with a good attitude that's not out there just like, oh, everything sucks, this game sucks, he's one of those types that's just a really fun and wholesome, interesting dude to watch. He did a review for the PS5 and the Switch copy of the game and showing it off on the Switch. I was like, man, that looks really good for the Switch. And it'd be great to play a good quality wrestling on the go, as well as having my full-on PlayStation console experience, getting my trophies. So I said on the show last week that I was going to wait and thrift / resell my way to getting the game. I was like, I'll do a video on it, whatever. The next day we went and bought it. So I decided, I was actually speaking with my youngest. I was like, wait a second. It's Noah's birthday on Saturday. I was like, we need to get him a game. And I kind of, all the games I wanted to get him, I kind of told other family members, like, here, this is what he's interested in. This is what he wants. And so we're like, you know what he loves? He loves playing wrestling with us. So we went and bought AEW. And we bought the PS4 version, so we get the free PS5 upgrade. So 2 trophy lists. So yes.
Daryl, there's somebody in the corner staring at you.
Mm-hmm. That's probably my nephew. They miss me.
I was like, all I see is like this ominous shadow in the reflection of the door, and I'm like,
he's a nervous.
That Zoom horror movie thing is so 2020.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really good one out of it though. I don't remember what did you see it?
I can't remember what it's called. It was all on the Zoom screen. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, they were all on calls and like stuff started happening in their house, and everybody was like, "Whoa, we don't believe you." And then it actually got really good.
Dude,
careful, Ray's going to get upset. We don't do movie talk during video game podcasts. I'm sorry, Ray.
Okay, well then we'll bridge the gap with this one. There's a game called Nightbook that is a movie, choice-based, narrative-driven movie, essentially that you kind of work through, and it was kind of filmed and produced during the COVID times. So like, it was all during Zoom calls, and horror stuff was happening. Depending on your decisions, you kind of branched out what scenes you saw, whatever. It's a easy 2-3 hour platinum, fun game and a good little story. I quite enjoyed that. Played it with my kids too, so it was, it's horror enough, suspenseful enough, but yet clean enough for the kids to see it too. But yeah, so AEW, found a loophole in my own logic, bought it, gave it to my son for a gift. So we all fired it up. We watched the Money in the Bank pay-per-view on one TV while playing AEW Fight Forever on the other, and it's fun. It is a little limited, a little basic compared to modern WWE games when it comes to match types and flexibility. It really does harken that old, No Mercy, WCW, NWO Revenge kind of energy, as far as like there's a certain amount of match types. You really can't modify them a ton. The gameplay and the smoothness of the fun. Yeah, the game is fun. Controls are a little funky. There is one glaring issue that drives me insane, and it's that when you are doing your signature moves, it's not controlled by like your triangle button, your Y button, or L1, R1, anything like that. It's your directional pad. So if you think about this, now this is a PS3 controller, so it's not the DualSense, but you're playing, you're used to hitting, what I'm saying, most modern games, it's triangle for your finisher or your signature. You're playing now. Yeah, there you go. So, and then you got to go up, down, left, right for your signature. It just feels awkward. No. We don't do that here. I'm sorry.
It's superior. Superior.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Super superior with all those great games. All right. So, but anyways, playing a little bit of Minecraft with the boys. We knocked out Dark Souls 3 for the GTTSC.
I got you, Zach. I got you.
Yeah, I know. See, and mine's a stealth controller too. Mine's pretty. It fits really nice in my hand. It has a mousy clicky triggers.
Can I hold the Switch one up too at the same time?
That too.
Power A all day. I have a Power A Elite one too, by the way. somewhere. Other.
So the Power A Titanfall controller that came out years ago, that thing was sweet. I had that one.
My Power A controller is for my Switch. It's in the living room.
I will say I have a lot of Power A controllers, all dead, or their cord went bad, and they're not universal. Like there's like a little groove in there, so most of your micro USBs won't fit for them.
Just get one with a smaller head.
Easy. We
You
don't
use
talk
your
about
head?
small heads here. All right, so Dark Souls 3 knocked out all 3 endings for the GTTSC. We beat Subnautica again, almost have the platinum on that one. I did the platinum in a game called Rush Hour Deluxe. This is a little puzzle game where you kind of almost have to maneuver everyone. It's like, I'm trying to think about you know how they have those like scramble puzzles where like there's an image and you have to like slide all the pieces over to make the image. Imagine doing that. These are car pieces, but the idea is the opening, right? Because you know how in those slide puzzles, there's always like one little square that's not used. The concept of this game is it's a parking lot. You're sliding all the cars around, and then the piece that's not used is an opening to get your car out. Played that, not good. I did it for points. I did it for the platinum. I do not recommend this game. I don't even recommend this game to trophy hunters because if you don't follow a YouTube guide, it is very frustrating. It's not a good game. Don't play it. Don't buy it. And then I'm doing a review for provinggamer.com right now, so I'm not going to talk about that one just yet. But yeah, that's kind of me. The only other thing I've been playing is I've been playing my Vita. So I was going to we have the Switch out in circulation. We bought the Subnautica double pack on there, so we are technically using the Switch, but I'm not playing it personally. So I lied. I said I played Nintendo, but I didn't. So yeah, that's us. And I think this weekend we're just going to focus on AEW. I think that's going to be the big push for the weekend. We're going to beat AEW. We're going to squeeze out as many trophies of that game as possible. The boys and I have already decided we will platinum that game, and it's fun. So if you're on the fence about it, I'd say if you just like fun wrestling games, this is a fun one to get. So definitely give it a shake, give it a try.
So did you do 2K23 also, or just the AEW?
I didn't do 2K23 because I didn't finish 2K22, and I didn't like 2K20.
See, that's what's kind of
think
curious
I
about where
like
it stands up
2K20.
against the two.
So my personal opinion is the 2K games have not been good. So I have a very large, I don't have every wrestling game, but I have a very large wrestling game collection. I have all the ones on Nintendo 64, several on the PlayStation. I don't have the old PS2 games anymore, but those are kind of like I'm hunting for those currently. I believe I have every wrestling game on PS3 and most of them again on Xbox 360. I have the ones on PSP. I like wrestling a lot, and I have most, all the SmackDown versus Raws, and almost all of the 2K series. But I feel like it's weird how the ones that are good. So when you get into, we'll start with SmackDown versus Raw. 2007 is a masterpiece. 2008, 9, and 10, they
So
all
good.
have glaring flaws where they went one step forward, 2 steps back. A lot of times it's the controller change up. A lot of times it's the weird like stipulations and match types that they just made it a little more clunky, not better and smoother. Then you get 2011. In my opinion, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 is one of the best wrestling games made since the No Mercy days. It controls really well. The match types are great. The fluidity of the combat, you can reverse, you can interrupt moves being done. You can move your character as you're doing suplexes and stuff like that. Little quality life changes, but it all lined up to make a really great game. Then they almost like revamped the system at 2K 12 through 15. I honestly don't think any of them are good 12 through 15. The mechanics they were trying, the submission systems, the kick out systems, I just thought they were all bad. I thought that they did a terrible job at what they were trying to do. 2015 came out. It was kind of like, all right, we're going to revamp things again. They got rid of a lot of the crap that made the gameplay slower and clunkier and less fun, but they arguably made a worse controlling game. And I feel like 2019 got pretty good. 2020 was super broken. And even though it played well once it was fixed and it had a really good campaign mode, it was so bad. Even post patches, it's still not great. They skipped 21. 22 was decent. We all had a good time with 22, but like it wasn't love. You know what I'm saying? So then I looked at it. I'm like, I could buy 23 and I could be disappointed again. Or I could pivot and I could buy AEW Fight Forever. And at least I know that the developer that made the game made some of my favorites, and in their I don't want to say scattershot approach because it seems like they were just kind of spraying for whatever, but in their field of view, they were keeping the great wrestling games, No Mercy being one of them, in that idea. So I think it's good. I think it's fun. So I can't say how it stacks up against 2023 personally, but if you look at the history of these games, no one's come out and been like, guys, stop what you're doing. This is the one. As a matter of fact, it came out and then it's discounted heavily already. And every pay-per-view or premium live event or whatever, they do a little ad and it's like, it's 30% off and it's the highest rated wrestling game currently or whatever. The verbiage is weird. It's a very marketing verbiage. It's not like, bro, know your role, shut your mouth, this is the greatest. It's just like, hey, you should play our wrestling game because we need you to buy it. It's just not. I don't know. That's just me though. So AEW is where it's at currently, in my opinion.
They're two completely different games though.
They are. One's more arcadey
styles. Yeah, exactly.
And I would argue that getting a more arcadey wrestling game is what we need right now. We need something that's just fun to play. Me personally, I don't want a wrestling simulator. When you get it, like these games are trying to be more and more realistic. I can do exploding barbed wire matches on AEW Fight Forever. That's what I want to do. What I want to do. I don't know if you guys remember, and I'm not trying to make this wrestling talk tonight, but hey, but like you remember on WCW NWO versus the World on Nintendo 64 when you could get the
peak of the wrestling games, just so we're clear. Like the 64 is where it ended for me because they peaked there. But okay,
I do agree that I think that run of games was just untouched. I mean, I think again, 2007, 2011 is the closest we've gotten, but No Mercy, in my opinion, is the king. And even then, it's a little buggier than WCW NWO versus the World. Either way, those games, if you handed me any one of them right now, WCW, Revenge, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, I'm good. I'm like set for life good. We can play wrestling all day long. But you remember when you could just pick a luchador and then you could run and you could dive over the top rope? It was like the first time we ever got to do that. It was amazing. And it's like that level of, oh my gosh, fun. That's kind of what we're doing with AEW right now. Like we're laughing, we're cutting up, and it's got like the block system and the reversal system is more of like a parry system. But it goes back to the old school, like L2 was the block your grapples, and then R2 was block your strikes and things like that. It's just got that older feel. Now it's L1 R1 in this one, but I don't know, man. It feels good. It feels nostalgic enough and fresh enough to where this is going to be the Assassin's Creed to the Assassin's Creed 2 story. AEW Fight Forever is a good game, just like Assassin's Creed is a good game. AEW Fight Forever 2 or Fight Even More, whatever they're going to call it, is going to be great. Like I feel like this isn't going to be an annualized, I could be wrong, but I feel like this isn't going to be this annualized franchise where you get minuscule upgrades and more downgrades, because the problem is every time they put a wrestling game out, they revamp the control system. But me personally, if I was Mr. AEW, Mr. WWE, and I'm making these games, I'm like, hey, what does Call of Duty do? Does Call of Duty reinvent the wheel every single time? No. They give you the same game, they reskin it, they add one or two things here and there, and you buy it, you eat it up, you freaking love it, and then next year you wait for the next one. That's what wrestling games need to do. Shooters have like basically essentially a default control setup now. That's what we need with wrestling games. Give us something that works. I want to pin, I want to submit, I want to slam, I want to taunt, I want to freaking dive through tables, and then don't change it again. Add features, add rosters, do things, but like give us something that's set. Every game plays different. And during this GTTSC thing, we were playing a bunch of wrestling games, my son and I, getting trophies, just kind of cleaning things up, but also playing wrestling because that's what we like. And every time we put a new game in, it's like, I got to freaking relearn how to play. Like it's dramatically different. So that's a lot to say. AEW is good, guys. You should check it out.
Do you guys have like a righteous rant button to tap on the end of that? Because that was a...
Sorry, I didn't mean for it. I didn't know that was there. I wasn't prepared for this.
Every Dowell speech is a righteous rant.
So I'm getting political. So check it out. Here we go. I've been watching this show, guys, and I highly, 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 highly recommend this show. Okay. It is a Netflix series called The Designated Survivor. Have any of you guys ever heard of that? Kiefer Sutherland.
That was
Oh,
the
with
Kiefer Sutherland one, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
on TV. Yeah.
Dude, that is so good. Like, it is so. My wife and I don't typically watch TV. She watches a lot of TV. I don't. And usually when she puts something on, I think it's crap. And she's like, "Hey, this sounds like it's up your alley. It's political. There's whatever." I'm like, "Okay, let's watch it." We watched an episode, guys. I'm freaking hooked. I am so hooked. This show is so good, and it's relatively clean. Like, not a ton of sex and romance in it. Like, not a ton of language. Like, it's got. You guys ever watch Prison Break?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Yeah, that was a good show.
I was about to say that's a little before your time there, Zach. That's a little. You might have been just a wee boy, a wee lad. But no, Prison Break. There's something about Prison Break, though. The way it was filmed, the way the stories were told, the way it left the cliffhangers, it like always kept me wanting to watch one more episode.
The way it took a dive after season 2.
Wow.
I liked it
Wow,
all the way to the end.
What a shot.
He's not wrong.
I'm not. I disagree.
We got out of prison.
I don't feel strong enough about it to fight for it, but I enjoyed the show.
So I will say, after season 2, it wasn't as good, but like, they got out of prison and then they went into another prison and then they got out of that prison. So like, yeah, at some point in time, it's just like, well, we have to escalate so much to where before you know, it's gonna be like Jason X. We're gonna be in prison in space. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to.
And they made that movie. That was with Schwarzenegger and Stallone. Yeah.
There you go. So, but that's the last show I watched that made me feel the way I feel right now, where I like one more episode. I need one more. And again, content wise, it's like surprisingly clean, and yet the storytelling is really good. The writing is really good. Like, there's enough plot twists going on to where it's like interesting, not like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. Because you know how that is, guys. Once you get like a plot twist, it's like, I didn't see that coming. That was really good. But then after like the 7th one, you're like, all right, I'm really sick of seeing this. You know, like come on, do something. They're just
enjoy the first season, because it starts to do that after that. Just kind of wrap it up at one.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Brace your expectations now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's really good. So I'm into it. But I guess that's where the rant's coming from, because I'm watching all these great moving political speeches and, oh, we're going to put the country back together. Oh, we're going to do this. And I'm just like, yeah, freaking feel that. I'm believing this. I'm all about it. So definitely.
You're just here to be the Kiefer Sutherland of podcasting. That's all.
You know what? Yeah, he was the GOAT in MGS 5.
Bringing it back to games.
I was wondering. I've actually been rehearsing that. I'm going to drop this little Kiefer Sutherland was great in Metal Gear and just wait for the crickets. So someone right now is riding down the road listening to this, and they're screaming at their radio, as they often do. They're like, oh my gosh, I freaking hate him. David Hayter was so much better. All right. So guys, this is the Loot Bros Podcast. This is where we go to rant about wrestling and talk about how great Kiefer Sutherland is. So
24, great.
Let's go.
24, Kiefer Sutherland. That was a show right there.
You know what? I got to watch that now. Like, I've watched it before, but I've never like binged it.
That's an escalating one. It goes from, we took the president, now it's the country, now it's the world's gonna blow up. Every season's like, how do we make it like just a bigger problem to deal with in one day?
It's, you know what, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, because it's like, like with comic books, it starts off so grounded and such great storytelling, and before you know it, it's intergalactic, multi-dimensional. And what do? We just got to blow up the world and start over. That's a reboot,
Mortal Kombat 1.
You see?
Oh my god!
There you go. Back to video games. I got you.
You see? Look at there. This is a very natural conversation we have going on. So, with that all being said, all right, let's do some community questions real fast. Let's knock those out.
Wow.
What are you going to say?
Matt, you're not playing anything this week.
I
Sorry,
guess, I'm used to
oh my god. Yeah, I talk for like 40 minutes. Am I bad? I'm freaking bad, Starscream. Get it.
Where's your wrestling rant at, Matt?
Make it quick.
Dude, Matt, you were literally going over there rubbing your eyes like you're about to fall asleep. So you know what? My bad. Overstepped.
It's all good. Daryl wanted to bring up the rear, as he is off to do, but I am here to reinforce the rear. So
someone's got
playing, hooked up my VR system again, and I got these new little mounts for the desk that I attached my joystick and throttle to, and I got myself back into some Star Wars Squadrons. VR, it's the way to play that game. I also started my own little Dark Souls 3 adventure as a pyromancer. Heard it was a little bit easier to go through the game as such. Then I also took advantage of the Steam sale. I picked up a game called Dredge, where you are a fisherman and weird stuff happens at night, and
Isn't
you
that a
catch.
horror game?
It kind of is, because during the day you catch fish normally and fish look normal, and at night this fog rolls over the area, and the fish you capture are like grotesque and monsters. And if you're out there too long, you start hallucinating and seeing things. It's actually really freaking neat.
I feel like I might have recently seen a trailer for that on like the Lad Bible or something.
Yeah,
It's a pretty new game. It's only the last few months, so you probably
yeah. And it's neat, and the art style is pretty cool. The fishing mechanic is very simple, but it's meant to be, because you're going to be doing it over and over and over again.
Okay.
Also picked up Inscription, that weird ass ARG card game, which is really
It
neat.
is a weird one.
And then one of the Channel 3 mainstays, You Exorcist, was playing a game called Boo Men, which I was able to get in on stream tonight. And if you've played Phasmophobia, it's basically like kind of like a ghost hunting game, but you're not ghost hunting. You're a burglar, and you have to sneak into houses and steal money, TVs, and everything. And the ghosts take exception to you stealing, so that's when they come after you.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it's a fun little 4-player co-op game that they introduced me to, and it was very fun to get in on. So yeah, Steam sale definitely still going on for a couple more days. If any of you PC players out there are interested, there's a whole slew of things that are pretty decently priced.
So I want to double back real quick to Inscription. What do you think about that game? You said it was weird, but
so I love card games, and unfortunately the twist of the game kind of already was spoiled for me, and I won't go into it here. But it starts off as a card game in this very pixelated, stylized environment, and you're in a shack with this crazy man. He's making you play a game, and one of the cards is talking to you saying, "This guy's crazy, you need to get out of here." And you're playing for your life, and it's fun because it's still a card game, a la like Slay the Spire or Power Chord or Across the Obelisk. You get cards, you build your deck as you run through, and if you die, you start over and you have to go at it again. And evidently there's like 3 acts to the game, so I'm just starting off fresh, and it's fun. I love the style, I love the presentation, and it was in a bundle with 2 other games called the Hex, and you guys are going to hate me for this one, called Pony Island.
Yeah, my man.
I don't know, but it was actually cheaper to get the 3-pack than it was to buy Inscription on its own. So I ended up picking that up.
So I've played through some Inscription with my son and my nephew. Matter of fact, that shadow that you were talking about, Zach, it caught me earlier because I was like, is he watching me? He like I say, he's a nervous pacer, so he just paces all the time. And dude, that theme song in Inscription for that first map, or the first world or whatever, is really good. Like the soundtrack is really, really good. And the fact that you, if I remember correctly, you upgrade or you level up with using teeth. Like, are you barter with teeth?
As you're playing for teeth basically, and as you do damage to the NPC, he throws his teeth on there. If he damages you, you throw your teeth on there, and that's how you determine who wins the matches. And I'm sure that comes into a more significance later on. But it's they give you pliers that if you don't have enough teeth, you got to pull out your own.
Pull them out. Yep. It's a very interesting game. I do remember when it goes from World 1 or Level 1 or however they stage it to the next one, it takes a sharp dive in, because it's a whole different art style, whole different soundtrack.
Yep.
Like, the game has different rules. And then I don't remember if I know they beat it together without me on my son's profile, but when we were playing it together, we made it to level 3. But we didn't beat the game together because it gets really difficult. And I feel like level 3, it gets back, maybe 4. I don't remember if there's 3 or 4 levels in it, but it kind of goes back to a little bit like the first one. But that first one is really cool. Like, if that whole game would have stayed in that art style, that tone, and that really dope soundtrack they had going, it was cool. It was cool. I don't know if you guys ever played Hunt the Showdown.
I've seen it. I've never actually loaded it up.
So, matter of fact, Zach, you said you like Tarkov, right? Like
Yeah.
extraction style
Yeah.
games.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Hunt Showdown, I highly recommend. It's made by Crytek. It is a PvPvE game,
I'm familiar with it.
extraction shooter, and surprisingly enough, it's been going around for a long time. But it's like the bayous of Louisiana. You're hunting monsters, and you really got to be careful when you fire your guns because it echoes and it's really loud. And then other teams can hear you, and that can draw them to you. Therefore, they'll kill you and try to take your loot, so you can't extract with it. And a lot of like old shanty medicine man kind of stuff happening going on. It's really freaking cool. But the best part is the title screen music is so ominous and so creepy and really cool. It's like if Johnny Cash had like if you take like Johnny Cash and then the Halo Druid theme song and put it together with that, ain't no grave can hold my body down kind of like feel, bruh, it's dope. If you go to Spotify or YouTube, look up the Hunt Showdown title screen theme song. It's friggin' dope. It's awesome. But that's what Inscription reminded me of because we turned it on and I'm working, and you guys can't see it, but like I got my little workstation command center. I got 2 screens here for editing and podcasting, and I got 3 screens here for mortgages. And then above me, I've got 2 screens above me. And it's like we got the PS4 on one, the PS5 on the other. So what happens is the boys will come in here and they'll be like, hey, Dad, we want to hang out. I'm like, well, I'm working. When I'm out on the phone, just, you can unmute the TV and we'll interact, play games, whatever. Pass the controller to me. When I got to make a call or I got to do something super important, I just weasel on into the command center. And so I missed part of that game, but I do remember the beginning being freaking awesome. And I think we just got it for PS Plus Premium as well, or Extra, whatever, Inscription. So anyways, it's really good. I'm glad you played that one because I thought that was a neat game, but that's one of those wild ones that I would have never played. My nephew actually was the one that, he saw a YouTuber play it. He told us about it. And but that's like a weird. That's a when you said weird card game, I'm like, bro, I don't even know how to recommend it to anybody because just as soon as you start liking it, it changes. So
yeah, I had paid close attention to it when it first came out, and all the reviewers and podcasters and everybody was talking about it. And I said I kind of wanted to avoid it, so that way I avoided everything to do with it. Unfortunately, like you said, the second act kind of got spoiled for me, and it threw me off for a while, and I was waiting for it to go on a pretty decent discount for me to get, and this was enough for me to do it.
sweet.
But that's what I've been playing. So, you earlier you said let's get some community questions.
Yep. Let's do that. So I want to knock out some community questions. Zach, do you have Discord or Facebook brought up, or which one you want to go for?
I can pull a Discord real quick.
I got Facebook. All right. Well, then I'll jump into the Facebook questions first while you do that because this one is for Channel 3. Kalai writes in, she says, question for Channel 3. Do you believe that Skyrim is the best game ever?
Don't feel obligated to answer that. Do not entertain her because, the more you feed into her Todd Howardism, the more you become sucked in. You become a Todd Howardite, and I don't want that to happen to my new friends.
Are you saying this is like an entrapment, plead our rights under the fifth situation?
I would fully suggest that, sir.
I think Skyrim is
Alexa,
one of the most resold games.
Ooh.
Right? So, a lot of generations get to play the same game over and over and over again. I say that as somebody that plays Mario over and over again. So I don't have much of a leg to stand on that one.
All right. So that's a no for those listening in the back. Just want to make sure you heard that.
It's a good game. It's a very good game.
It was a good game like 5 times now, too.
Yeah. So for those of you listening who maybe need a translator, he said no as well. Good game, not best game.
Check the recording. I don't think I said that.
That'll be reserved for Resident Evil 2. So there you go. All right. Now, Kalai has a follow-up. She says, do you think that Zack Snyder is our Lord and Savior?
Oh, I'll jump in. Dan
no.
question here.
I'll jump in and say no.
Okay. So we got one yes. What about you, Hector?
To be accurate, Kalai asked if Todd Howard is our Lord and Savior. Because we know Zack Snyder is not up to the task. He can't even make a good movie anymore.
Bro, you know what? I saw some new screenshots from Rebel Moon come out. I don't know if you guys have been following.
Yeah. Listen, if you're talking about the best trailer man in the business,
mm-hmm.
The man knows how to make a trailer.
Best cinematographer as well.
I want to see something over 3 minutes that I'm entertained by. That's all.
Well, let me tell you about this
Best trailer man in
masterpiece
the business.
called Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's 4 hours of nonstop.
3 hours of it are
sensuality.
slow-mo shots of the Flash and Superman. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. There was one random slow-mo shot of Maggie Q coming down the stairs, cocking her pistol in Designated Survivor earlier. And I said, babe, that's some Zack Snyder joke right there. She goes, uh-huh. Hector. So yes, for you, correct?
Yeah, that's a no.
Okay, good. 2 yeses for that one. All right. So. Mr. Kamish, that one's the goal. John Tancredi said, why would you relegate yourself to anything less than 60 frames at 1440p, gentlemen? We'll start with Dan. We'll go to Hector. We'll hit Matt and then the bearded nerd. He wants to, this is a resolution question. Why would you relegate yourself to anything less than that? He said,
because I don't care.
Me either. That's a banger right there. All right, Hector, what about you?
Oh no, I care now. I just upgraded PC about a few weeks. Might be a month right now.
That's what it
matters.
is.
Let me say, man, once you see it, I'll do this. I played Rocket League. First, I played Rocket League was on the Switch, so I'm playing like 30 frames on the TV,
no,
and I'm
massive upgrade.
Let me tell you, and I'm thinking, and people will send me like, "Why are you playing on that?" I was like, "Well, that's all I have," and I'm like, "And it looks fine. What are you guys talking about? Like, is this like it can't be that much better?" And then I played just 60 frames, and I said, "Oh, I can't. I understand." I was like, "If I jump up, I can't go back." I mean, I swear the car doesn't move the same way.
It's weird. I'll say this. I'm not a PC guy. I actually do everything I can, and I go way out of my way to not play games on PC. Like it's but I've played games at 60 frames with higher resolution and then going back and playing my Vita, going back and playing my PS3. It is so incredibly noticeable. Like I've been jumping between, a game I forgot to mention earlier is Horizon Forbidden West. We jumped into that again. Started a brand new game. I think I was about 8-ish hours in, and my son really wanted us to play it together, start to finish. And I was like, let's start a new game. Let's go. So we jump in. The game is so incredibly beautiful, and it's so smooth. And then I go over here, and I'm playing friggin' Iron Man on PS3. And I'm like, whoa.
Looks like stop motion, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. I understand. But I can't be bothered. If I want to play a game, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it whatever fashion that I can. So I get it. I see because it's freaking noticeable.
By the way, that's one of the reasons why Nintendo does so well.
Because they don't care.
Because they don't care, and they make games that the
right.
games basically don't care either, and they look amazing.
And
yeah, I can still play a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? They're good. I would argue that if you make a good game and you optimize it for your system, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Ray and I have talked repeatedly about the fact that our minds are blown at. I mean, everybody's talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Let's talk about Game X, okay? Fine. Let's just call it Game X if that makes everybody feel better.
No, talk about it.
Open world
but Game X, right? All these projections are coming out before the game is released. Like, there's no way this is coming out. Like 3 years ago, oh, no way this is coming out for the Switch. It's got to come out for the Switch too. There's no way the system can handle it. And it's a 16 gigabyte game. Like it's 3 times the size of what its predecessor is. Literally more than 3 times the size of its predecessor from a content perspective. And it's a 16 gigabyte card. And you've got these other Call of Duties that can't do something without having a 500 gigabyte download on day one.
Crazy. Like it's mind blowing.
Forget it. Whatever the game's going to be what the game's going to be. Now you're talking about Ray's example of like Rocket League. I can't play Rocket League on the Switch to his point when I can play it on PS5 or PC. Yeah, if you're going to talk about that, absolutely. But I don't need a game to be, 8K 60 frames per second to be able to enjoy it.
Preach.
60 frames? That's a little low.
I'm sorry, 360, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I don't care.
Look, we were promised 60 frame games on PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, all that. We still can't get a 60 frame standard, though. I mean, come on. They were like, the PS5, like the box says it'll do 8K. I don't know what's doing 8K.
Everything coming out 3 days beforehand, like what was it? Like we keep going in like Alzheimer's patients. Gotham Knights, like 30 days before release, oh, it's only going to play 30 frames. Like,
And
and
that-
every time they keep it calling, oh my God, what's this going to happen? What are you surprised about? It's melting computers and they
Mhm.
can't do it on the system. It's just not going to happen, guys. Accept it.
Here's the thing, and hang on. I'm sorry, Matt. I want to put this out there because GTTSC. I'm gonna say it again. I've been playing these pinball games, these $1.99 pinball games, and you get both stacks, the PS4 and PS5. They are as basic as, I mean, these are less than iPhone quality games. Okay, you play the PS4 version, and it plays fine. Little buggy here and there. You play the PS5 version, it overheats my PS5. Tells me it's cool. It needs to cool off. I'm not kidding you. This ain't no graphics powerhouse.
Meanwhile, Horizon Forbidden West plays no problem whatsoever.
Exactly. And it's all about optimization. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what you're doing under the hood if you don't know how to harness it.
Take Zelda versus Pokemon and look what
Yeah.
the Nintendo team brought out versus what the Pokemon company brought out. Same system, same size card, and the Pokemon company knows that they can sell trash. That's the
100%.
problem.
Yep. And
We're ready to bring heat, Matt. Let's do this.
Save it for the Driftcast, Matt.
Yeah. All right, Zach. We know
Nintendo
you're one of
talk.
those PC master racists.
So for certain games, I think it is an absolute necessity to play a game at a higher resolution and higher frames per second. I play games like Siege, I play games like Apex Legends and stuff like that. FPS and image quality do matter in those situations. But for me personally, like if I'm playing like a campaign based game, like an RPG or something like that, that I'm just sitting back to relax and enjoy, like Ghost of Tsushima, 4K 30 makes it beautiful. So I really do think that those games look graphically better when you're playing it on a 4K television with that image quality. And your eyes do notice the difference between 1080 and 4K. There's a lot sharper image. Getting past 4K, I don't know if our eyes are going to see past that. Like, I don't know what 8K is going to really do for us unless it's a like 120-inch screen. You know, that's not like, that's when it'll matter. But it's not going to matter to the average homeowner that has between a 50 and a 60-inch television. That 8K isn't going, you're not going to see it. Your eyes will not perceive it at that small of an image size.
You know who wanted 8K on that box? Jimmy Broken Promises Ryan.
No.
Yeah.
Franchise. I am kind, Jimmy Ryan.
Numbered here.
Yeah. Okay. How's that PSVR 2 acting out there? You go support that one, Daryl?
I can't do VR. I get motion sick.
Yeah. Well, if you were any sort of Sony pony, you'd actually go out there and buy it just to support the system.
The day is still young. I still have time. My son has been asking for it. As a matter of fact, he's saving his birthday money to buy a PSVR 2 right now.
Good. Set him up early for disappointment.
Hey, check this out. This right here is a KYY portable monitor. Okay. USB-C powered. All right, let me move my microphone. So you
I know the feeling. What do you think
yeah. Dude, these things right here are freaking beast. This is so amazing. I kid you not. Like, I was testing consoles because I got a whole bunch of consoles the other day. I was down in my eBay room and I just plopped this bad boy up, put it on a stand, and I'm like, I can power it with the USB from the console.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. What's the resolution? Don't know. It looked good.
Most of them are 1080 by.
I was like, what's 1080?
They're all 1080.
I don't need 4K. I don't need 4,000 inches.
Mine's 1080 60 hertz.
Yeah, that's what this is then. This little thing right here, this little tiny baby right here, it weighs as much as my phone.
Yeah,
I can freaking put it in my lap and play games.
Yep.
I'm gonna put this thing on a stand and put my PlayStation controller on it.
Problem with mine is the biggest problem that monitors and other peripherals have is it needs certain drivers to work on certain things. So yeah.
Well, I have been using it to test consoles with just that little micro HDMI, and it is a beast.
Oh, mine doesn't have a micro HDMI. Mine's just USB-C to USB-C.
Oh, mine's got USB-C and micro HDMI, so I literally plugged it into the PS3.
But then again, I can't complain very much. I got mine for $8 at a pen store, so.
Booyah, that's what's up. So, all right, next question. I don't even know where we're at anymore. Have I answered? Matt, did you answer? You answered resolution?
We did not answer, no.
Matt,
No.
you need resolution. Where you at?
Well, I have to relegate myself to anything less than 60 frames and 1440p when playing on consoles. because on Switch, I know what I'm getting. I know what the system advertises. However, Series X and PS5, they advertise 60 frames. Yeah, with the asterisks of, 1080p. Because any of these games coming out now, they're giving you either resolution mode or performance mode. And it sucks because I'm the type that I need the frames. And that means I have to play at a lower resolution. I don't have that weakness on my PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't get trophies, so it
Yeah, you
doesn't even
can.
matter.
You want to
Yeah,
bet?
Steam achievements.
No, I can get trophies. You want
The
to bet?
Steam Achievement leaderboard doesn't even work. Come on,
Hey,
guys.
hey, Matt. What's the good thing about a PC? Right? You can
Nothing.
play.
You can do your taxes on it,
I
and
can
that's
play.
literally it.
I can play PlayStation Network.
I can do taxes, and I can do
PlayStation
Zencaster
Plus
for
on my
podcasting.
PC. I can play
Even-
Xbox Game Pass on my PC. I can
Even
Nintendo Switch games on my PC.
even better, I can do RetroArch on my PC, which
Yep.
lets me play
Like
old games, and they added trophies into them, Daryl.
All right, I secede this argument. You are the victor. Sign me up.
I kid you not. So 2 weeks ago, my buddy and I were playing RetroArch, and we played Street Fighter and NBA Jam across the internet.
Oh, he's on fire.
This all works until you have that $500 hypothetical again, and somebody say, "Well, I'll spend 5 times as much and get the PC for it." That's the only problem. That's
If
Oh my
I'm going to
gosh.
spend Lamborghini money, my thing better do what it's advertised.
Yeah, facts.
The best is when you see people with these $3,000 and $4,000 or $5,000 rigs playing Minecraft. It's like,
I play Minecraft on my PC too.
yeah.
I also,
Daryl, where
I
are you
also
at?
play it on. I also play it on my phone.
I don't care, guys. I personally, I like, I think resolution's cool. I think it mattered up until the Xbox 360, PS3. After that, I don't think it, if a game runs good, then I have a good time. Frame rate obviously leads a lot into that because games at running at smoother, more frames, it looks better, it feels faster. You know what I'm saying? But as long as the games work, I mean, I like you mentioned Gotham Knights earlier, Dan. I freaking love Gotham Knights. That was the best 7 out of 10 I've ever played. I put almost 70 hours in that game, and I did the same bland combat loop over and over and over again, and it looked good. It played great, and it was like 30 frames. Never matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't even matter.
I'd be surprised if Dan and Hector remember this, but there was a C3 question last year that Joel put up, and it was, what's your 2023 gaming resolution? And other people were like, oh, game more, beat this game. And I just put 1440p. And Joe was like, all right.
I mean, you guys know me. I still play on the PlayStation Vita. So, I mean, resolution, frame rate, I'm lucky if the games even work.
tell me what the resolution is on my Game Gear. I can't tell you.
Exactly. Yeah. I was someone in one of the Vita groups that I'm a part of. Someone posted Resident Evil Revelations 2 in there. And they're like, I'm so thrilled to have this. I'm like, yeah, I have it too. And you know what? It barely runs. I'm talking, we're getting sub 10 frames in certain sequences of that game. Like, it is so bad. And I'm like, it looks like crap. They took a lot of the textures out to make it run. It exists. And that's about my standard. It exists. All right. Did everybody get a chance on that one? We feeling good?
Yep.
All right, JT, come back to the dark side. All right. Our good friend over at the PlayStation Collectors Podcast, Will, writes in and he says, what is everyone on the panel wearing? And please go into detail. Thank you. Starting with you, Dan.
I'm actually decked out in Channel 3 gear because it's comfortable. So I've got the site officially went to alpha as it went July 1st for its official 1-year anniversary. So
Congrats.
we had purple shirts made since everything kind of went to a purple theme, but you can't tell because there's black writing, so you can't get the black writing on them anymore. But nice little Channel 3 hat, and then a pair of jeans and some like middle-aged man Skechers. Do I have to go that far? Like, do we want to know?
You said in detail.
Yeah, okay. Some middle-aged man Skechers. Yeah, there we go.
Nice. Okay.
Boxers briefs.
Boxers. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. See, there you go. Perfect.
All right. No, see, I have a problem here. Dan, you're home right now, right?
Where? I want to know where this is going.
Why do you have shoes on inside your house?
Because
This is
I
a,
may
no,
live in
this is a,
Western Pennsylvania,
this
but
is
I
a real
still wear
problem.
my shoes. Okay.
Not in. Hey, wait, you said you're wearing jeans,
Yeah.
right? No, you don't wear jeans at home.
No.
Jeans are not comfortable.
Yes, they are.
The second
You're
you
not
walk,
getting the right jeans.
the second you walk through the door, your jeans actually should come off as you
I
walk
agree
through
with
the
that.
door.
You shouldn't even have to do anything. It should just naturally
They just kind of slide down as you go.
I'm
You're getting
actually
the wrong jeans,
surprised.
man.
I'm surprised you're wearing pants at all on a podcast. That
That's
it seems like it's against the rules.
I've got the Channel 3 hat. I got the same hat Dan has.
Nice.
I'm not wearing the exclusive black Channel 3 purple shirt. There's only 3 of those made because we realized that the black lettering is not very good, but now we limited edition. I've got the Wordle shirt on that guesses a bunch of words and ends up with Mario at the end. And I got some shorts on. And then that's it.
Oh, we got a commando in the house.
That's
All
it.
right. Starscream.
I got gray cargos on because they're comfy, unlike jeans.
It's true.
And,
This is true. Continue.
and I am wearing my Cutthroat Games 2018 shirt. Cutthroat Games is a event my friend Steve throws where everybody goes over to a location and we hold tournaments with various games where you earn points and points get you prizes, and it's been a while since we've had one, but that's what Cutthroat Games is. And he made shirts to commemorate the occasion, and they are damn comfy. One of my favorite shirts.
I swear, not gonna lie, it wouldn't surprise me if that's a deep throat.
Well, we won't know because the microphone's in the way. All we
Yeah,
see
exactly.
is throat games.
All we see is titty. Oh, there we go.
All right, Zach.
I am wearing white basketball shorts, boxer briefs because I like the combo, barefooted, and a shirt that says "Awesome dads have tattoos and beards."
Facts.
Accurate.
Nice. Very
You know
good.
what's funny? Daryl says facts, but he doesn't have any tattoos. He hasn't put any art on his body.
Didn't say I was an awesome dad either.
Well, we all know that's not true.
I don't need tattoos, baby. All right, so check it out, Will. I'm going to lean in real close for this one. I am wearing a very fitted. Matt's like, oh, I got to get that out of my ear. I am rocking actually the old William Strength weightlifting muscle tee. You know, we don't wear pants in this house. All right. First off, as soon as you walk in the door, whoosh, they fall off, even if you're a guest. So I do apologize to all the guests that come over and lose their shorts. It is what it is. We rock athletic wear in the house. You know, you have to be comfortable. You have to be able to stretch. You never know, out of nowhere, one of the random mini golden retrievers in the house might attack you. Last thing you want to do is rustle around in your jeans or you're getting mauled by a dog. So, and then the Shih Tzu, he will take you to your knees. So we rock sweat shorts in this house, boxer briefs. Okay. Got to protect the McNuggets, and Puma socks. All right. We don't F around with no fake bull crap socks. Puma socks exclusively for all the males in the house. All right. All the lady males, they can wear whatever they want. They're ladies. It's fine. All right. Next question. That was a good one, Will. You keep the heat coming. All right. Dr. Deuce writes in and he says, in your opinion, what is the best wrestler song and why is it the game? Very fitting question.
Wait, how is it not I'm a Real American? It peaked at I'm a Real American. That's it.
I don't know about peaked, you know. There's a lot of bangers that came out after I'm a Real American. As a matter of fact, when the Real American decided he was going to join the NWO, that we're getting into some real peakage there.
Attitude Era was still hands down one of the best.
It was the best era. As a matter of fact, I don't care what Joe says. Attitude Era was when wrestling was its absolute best.
I like the Ruthless Aggression Era better. Sorry.
Well, that's because you were a baby and you don't really understand the gravity of the Attitude Era. Because I'm an 80s baby. I came from Bret the Hitman Hart and Hulkamania. You know, I saw the greats in their prime.
Hey.
Daryl put together his own barbed wire bat. Do you know how hard that was?
I jumped off my own house when backyard wrestling became a thing. Who do you think is that person flying across the yard in the pictures?
You guys have no idea what that did to folding table business for those of you who are under 35.
I understand the impact.
Supply and demand was out of control.
I understand the impact the Attitude Era had that allowed Kurt Angle to rule the show a little bit with his aggression.
Dude,
You-
That's kind of where I entered. Kurt Angle running the show, John Cena just showing up. That was
a good time.
That was it right there.
When
Listen,
Kurt
the
Angle-
90s local moms were out there, like news channels were putting stories out there. They were hiding folding tables and chairs, locking them in basements, keeping them away from kids. You guys had no idea what this was like.
Dude, one of the kids in my AP English class got a stone cold stunner in the back of the classroom and it dislocated his jaw. Right? Sweet Chin Music, we were hearing them claps everywhere. Like it wasn't, see, nowadays you hear clapping in school, you're like, oh no, it's a gun. No. When I was in school, you heard that clap.
God.
Somebody just took a boot to the face.
We just got canceled.
We had people walk in our hallways in high school with title belts.
Hey,
And if you wrestle someone down the middle of the hallway, you got to take the belt.
dude, me
I
and
wish.
my other guitar player, Justin Joy, when we toured in Ninja Loop, we hung title belts from our amps. And when I could finally afford like a legit one, I had Mark Henry's ECW black and gray belt hanging from my freaking Mesa stack.
belts they've ever made.
Hey, you shut your mouth. That was the Hall of
Worst
Pain belt,
belts
baby.
they ever
Somebody
made.
gonna get the head
No,
kicked.
first of all, the current title belts right now might be the worst belts they've ever made.
No,
Oh, the
No,
color,
there's-
those color-coded coordinated ones.
no, they changed it.
Did they?
No,
No,
that-
no, they got the black universal one now. That was
Well, yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
dingy
with the
gold.
with
That
the
was one of the
with
worst
gold.
reveals.
Red, we had the blue, now we have the dingy gold.
I really like the World Heavyweight Championship. It looks so good.
It looks very reminiscent of the real belts from when I was in.
It's so
wrestling.
good. I'm glad they finally did away with the red and blue color coded BS. So I'll take the black with gold.
Look,
inlay.
nothing
It
will
looks
beat
better than
Jeff
red
Hardy's
and blue.
Divas Championship from TNA. Thank you. Oof, that seems like a deep cut. No one got that one. You guys
Oh,
see
no, I
Jeff Hardy
didn't.
when he became the champion in TNA, and they made that weird looking belt that kind of looked like the Divas Championship from WWE.
Don't make me hurt you.
Google it, Matt.
I
Google
swear
it.
to the Lord above, I'm gonna hurt you.
Google it.
Matt, do you want to have like a side conversation while they're having this conversation at the same time?
You know, to bring it back to Jared's question, I personally am a favorite of the Attitude Era myself.
Hey, my man.
And speaking as a stone cold fanatic,
Yes.
coming from the Hawk Rock Cafe, Dan, after he won his championship, cracking 2 Cokes open to crack a cold one, I am still hard pressed to disagree that the game is not one of the best opening songs of all time.
That's a good one.
Metalingus.
The game is a good
song?
one. Hearing the glass break for Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's iconic.
I'll take Austin's original Glass Break theme over Disturbed's rendition of it.
The stupefied version.
Oh God, I was like, hey, what is this? No, go back to the old one.
Yeah, I feel like we just had this conversation on the podcast recently, but there's a handful that stick out. Someone mentioned Kurt Angle's Ruthless Aggression run. When he came out and his music hit, and it was the I Don't Suck version. I don't suck. That was amazing.
Did you like John Cena coming out at the at Money in the Bank and everyone was actually singing the song instead of Cena sucks?
Yeah.
He was like, and y'all didn't say Cena sucks tonight. I'll be damned.
Yeah, that was a really good pay per view.
was,
That
yeah.
that Bloodline.
Nope,
Civil
premium
War-
live, premium live event.
Yeah, you're right. That yeah.
We gotta be politically correct. now.
PLE. Nah, man, that was a good one. So
I'll throw
Yeah.
Randy Orton there. That theme song.
Voices,
Voices?
or-
Yeah, Voices.
Yeah,
Yep.
Rev Theory.
yeah. What was Edge's old music?
I literally just said it. Metalingus, Ultra
Yeah.
Bridge.
Yeah.
That is probably my favorite one out of the ones we've listed so far. Honestly,
Mm.
I'm also gonna throw in Kane's Finger 11 song. What
The
the hell?
Slow Chemical, bro. I was about to say that. That's
Yeah.
a banger.
so
So that 2003 album for Finger 11, I was listening to that today on loop while I was working. That is one of my favorite albums of all time. That is such a good album. They were really in. I'm a huge Finger 11 fan, and they really hit their stride with that song. Slow Chemical was such a good one. I really like Cody Rhodes' song Kingdom right now.
Yeah,
That's a really, really good song.
very good song to sing along to. 110%
Yes. Oh, it
agree with
is.
that.
It is. That's another thing too. Wrestling's doing really good at getting things that the crowd can sing along with right now. By the way, this is the Channel 3 Loot Bros Wrestling podcast tonight because
Yeah.
clearly
Joe's
that's
gonna
the
be
pocket
really
we're
upset
playing
he
in.
had to miss tonight.
We're prepared for anything.
Joe's gonna listen to the podcast and be like, "I fucking hate all of you right now."
There
You wanted family time.
I can make it
Exactly.
really millennial. I basically follow wrestling by watching TikToks that show up on my phone.
You
There
know
you
what?
That's
I
You
would
wa- you
make
watch
fun
that
of you.
Sanchez guy,
that's
don't
why
you?
I follow along. I don't know who I couldn't even tell you who I do, but I get the updates every week. TikTok tells me what happens.
So I would make fun of you normally if this was anything else, but because wrestling is there's so much of it, and it's so hard to
It's so hard to
consume all of it.
all of it in a week.
I do
yeah.
the same thing. I watch highlights, and I am a lifelong hardcore wrestling fan, but it's just there's too much to keep up with now, and I don't have the time to watch a 3-hour Raw, SmackDown. I don't have
3-hour
AEW.
Raw, 2.5-hour NXT, AEW on Wednesdays, Rampage
Yeah.
on Fridays, SmackDown on Fridays,
Collision
on
now. Yeah,
Saturday. We have
it's gotta be
wrestling
the
6
highlights.
days a week.
Yep.
All I know about Rhea Ripley is what I've seen on Facebook reels.
Oh, mommy.
Hey, that's mommy.
That was Molly.
Step on me, please.
Dude, she could play Lady Dimitrescu. If
Oh
she-
yes.
So, all right, Zach, take it over, man. Then we're done with Facebook questions.
Metalingus, probably one of the most iconic. It's just, when you, and it really, really hit me when he returned at the Royal Rumble a couple years back. When you heard, "You think you know me," and I was like, there ain't no way. Like, just chills all the way up and down my arms. Like, and I'm waiting for that same pop when Randy Orton returns from injury.
Oh yeah,
Because I know it's going to happen, especially because he left as a baby face with heel tendencies, which is weird.
Randy Orton should always be a heel.
Yeah.
That's just he's.
I
such a
agree, but
natural
yeah,
heel.
he was playing like his attitude was that of a heel, but he had the pop of a babyface, and they did it really, really well. And like it's funny, like so just thinking about he should always be a heel. Somebody sent out a tweet that said, "Hey Randy, my kid's got blah blah blah," and it's like uploaded a picture, and he's like, "The fuck are you tweeting me for? Go take your fucking kid to the doctor." And like any interviews you see with him, he always seems pissed off, but he's not he's not that way.
That's a kayfabe, man. He stays in character. So that's
Like
good stuff.
MJF on every freaking interview never breaks
MJF
character.
cusses too much. I want my wrestlers to be so good with their promos that they don't have to talk like he does. Like he's so vulgar, like for vulgar sake, not like a Stone Cold Steve Austin who like when he dropped one or The Rock, when they dropped one, it was to accentuate whatever line they like. The Rock could sit there and call someone a thong wearing hermaphrodite and get the same reaction that MJF does, but he works so much harder for it. You know what I'm saying? Like The Rock was just spitting stuff. MJF's like, I don't know, man. I took my kids to see TNA and we really enjoyed it. I mean, it's TNA, sorry, AEW. And we really enjoyed it, but man, the language was real bad. I'm like, dog, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah. By the way, don't say any of the things that he just said. As I'm cheering it on.
So edgy. So edgy.
Oh yeah. To me, it's just like you can do better. You're just cussing a lot because the other guy isn't.
Compensating, that's all.
Mm-hmm. A little penis.
I mean, I can't complain right now. I'm really honestly, LA Knight's got the biggest pop for me right now. I'm very upset that he didn't win the Money in the Bank on Saturday. Let me talk to you.
Yeah. So I want to like LA Knight, and everyone's loving him right now.
But you remember his run as Eli Drake in Impact too much?
A little bit. Well, that, and it's also like he moves like Stone Cold, but yet talks like The Rock, and it's just so much of each of them that I'm like, well, who is LA Knight? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is yours?
Well, so you need to go back. He did an interview. I think it's Blue Wire, and it was a really good interview. Kind of explained like how his character came to be and how he was in developmental 10 years ago with WWE at the PC, and how that like his whole thing came to be.
Yeah,
really good interview. If you haven't watched it, go watch it.
I like the fact that people like him, and he's got He's got that look. He's got the movement. He has that it factor, but he hasn't won me over yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I want Cody Rhodes right now. I don't want LA Knight personally. So, all right, what we got on Discord, Zach?
Well, all right, we'll start with Stalin. If Zach is on, remind him he was banking my Halo question on how he expects Infinite to revitalize battle royales when it can't revitalize its unfranchised. And so I'm banking on them changing it up and doing some different things like weapon system wise and stuff like that. I feel like that they have the opportunity to make it like larger team based, or kind of expand the genre into their open world aspect like they did with their main campaign. The main story was really, really good. They've shit the bed on everything else though, unfortunately. And I mean, and I'm the guy to say it. I have Cortana tattooed on my on my arm, like
on your poop.
Wow. On my arm. Yeah. Well, here, I'll give her here you go. I show you your titties and make you go doing 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 doing. Whoa. So that's me. And then he writes to Matt, are you officially a host who can commit to each week?
I'm going to answer this one very carefully because that's a loaded question. Because I feel like if I say yes, suddenly I'm going to have some pledge games coming my way. No, so obviously I had the discussion last week with the guys and saying that, my new job makes it a lot easier for me to jump in when I can. And, as long as it isn't a Snyder cast or a Wrestle cast every week, I have no problem jumping in. And okay, if you want to pledge me something, bring it. Go ahead. I'm all ears.
Speaking of pledges, Matt just knocked out a pledge for I'm a teenage oncologist.
Exochronologist, right?
And then Zach, you're getting ready to drop one for Streets of Rogue, correct?
I am. No one decided they want to join me, so we're doing it solo dolo.
When do you want to record? I'll jump in with you.
Have you played the game?
No, but I can ask you questions.
Well, that's fair enough. Let's shoot next week after show.
Good.
Bamsis.
Yeah. Nice. I like it. All right. What about you two gentlemen? Dan?
Good luck with that Halo thing, everybody. Yeah. Let's see how that works out. I'm done. That's it. I'm out.
Yeah, my man. Mic drop and leave. All right, Hector.
I'll do the same thing. I think Halo multiplayer gameplay, like the way the game plays, I think it plays great. I think I'm still working on season 2's battle pass because I just don't care about the outfits, or it's like you unlocked as a skin and I'm like, oh cool, I got a new color. No, it's only for your weapons. It's not actually for your armor. And so, it's just I play every week with the Dad Gaming. So we have a group, we do a season and we play. So that's fun because I'm playing with other people, but that's not the game that I'm turning on. It's there's just not enough there, and it sucks because I think the game plays really great.
Yeah, I have no qualms when it comes to the way the game plays or any of that. My qualms are with the content that they're pushing out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like it's enough to keep me wanting to come back. Played a lot of season 1, enjoyed it, but I was also playing with people at the time. That was when the game first came out, and I had that opportunity. Everybody was like, "Oh, we're hot on Halo." Like, don't get me wrong, it plays well, but where's the content that we're looking for? Where's the other maps that we should be seeing? Where is the change up in game modes like they had in 5, which was fun? Like Fiesta in 5 is fantastic. I have 5 still downloaded just to play like Husky Raid and stuff like that. The different game modes and like the individual rank playlist and the social playlist was super, super duper good. And that was like I said, that's the one thing they did good with 5. They fucked up 5's campaign, did good with the multiplayer. Now they did good with Infinite's campaign and fucked up the multiplayer. Like, can we have both?
I'm with you. I have nothing more to add. That is correct.
My question would be, is 343 still in charge?
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Then the answer is no. Although, I don't know if you guys have really been following it, but a lot of the 343 staff has been turned over.
Yep. A lot of them have either said, "Hey, I'm stepping down," or they just were like, "Yeah."
Stepping down is the politically correct way to fire someone in the gaming industry right now. So, yeah, 343 is getting their just desserts. They are being stripped down to a smaller and smaller studio. They should be PlayStation, or excuse me, Xbox's flagship studio. They should be the GOAT. They have the best franchise, in my opinion, that has come from Xbox ever. I think that they, you could accidentally make a good game by now, as many as they've put out that have been just like drowning in issues. Like, come on, just I think it's time for someone else to do it.
So jump in there. I honestly think their approach to the way that they did Infinite also had an effect on it. Had they released everything at the same time, I think it would have been a little more forgiving in everything. Like Zach said, the campaign was, to my opinion, was good. The multiplayer at the beginning was fun. If they added co-op to the campaign at the beginning and they had the fun multiplayer and the good story, I think it would have been more welcomed by the community. The problem is when they released everything piecemeal and we all said, okay, everything's kind of crap. Why? You did this so you could work on the pieces. Where's the quality?
Where's the rest of it? Because it's like, hey, wait, we're going to piecemeal this thing because we're going to be, this is going to be a live service game. We're going to be doing big content updates. What are we doing? And I was like, well, no, nothing. Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think they changed the battle or the battle pass genre in such a great way by you being able to go back and work on your old battle passes. I think that's fantastic. The events they have are completely free to play, and they allow you to get some exclusive content for free. All like cool armor items and stuff aren't locked behind a paywall constantly. There are free ways to get it. And the fact that you can go back and grind out a battle pass if you really like it and you don't want to miss it, cool. Like I think that's fantastic. You paid for it. You can get the whole battle pass. You just have to play. But no one wants to fucking play.
There's a problem there. Because you know what? When I was coming up, no one wanted to play anything but Halo. That was the GOAT.
Yep.
So, as far as that goes, in my personal opinion, I think that I think it's time to hand it to someone else. But you guys are in luck because very soon, Phil Spencer is going to step down. He's going to move out of the way. Bobby Kotick is going to assume command, and all of Xbox Studios will be Call of Duty Studios, and it won't matter anymore. Because it's just going to be Call of Duty all the time.
Oh, God.
And then you're going to have the Warzone 3 event where the Covenant come in and they're just going to incorporate. Call of Duty will consume Halo.
Why do I feel like that would actually be kind of fun?
It probably would be, actually. I made it up literally as I was just talking, so who knows?
Cut that, save it.
I better put my name on that one. So, yeah.
Put it back in next. Next is Diego writes in. He says, "Is it safe to say that Thomas now holds the record on the amount of random shoutouts one can make?"
Easily.
And then he also says, "What was the best homemade meal you've ever made or have eaten?" Daryl, let's start off with you.
We cook in this house. My wife is a phenomenal cook, and we make a lot of meals. I would go with a default steak or some crazy cool stuff like that, but I'm actually going to throw something out there that's pretty wild. And I'm not saying it's the best ever, but this is the best meal I've ever had that's completely out of left field for me. My wife has been making dirty rice. Just gonna let that sit in for a minute. My wife's been making
Ray's nodding.
Rice.
Don't worry, Ray's nodding.
Oh, no, I'm listening. Yeah, no.
But here's the thing.
So far, so good.
It's risotto cauliflower rice mix with seasoned turkey meat. And instead of like chopped up like peas and carrots and stuff in the mix or whatever vegetable you like to throw in your rice, whatever, it's chopped up asparagus. And it's amazing because it doesn't taste like any of those things. It literally just tastes like I'm getting some sort of like dirty rice mix. It is phenomenal. And I don't really like turkey meat because turkey meat, if you've ever had ground turkey meat, it's kind of dry. It's really hard to make it not dry. And I freaking hate cauliflower in all forms. Like, I despise cauliflower so freaking much. Like, I like Bella Ramsey's face more than I like cauliflower.
Wow.
That is
oh my goodness.
If I got to put it into perspective for you guys. All right. But my wife makes this mix, and like it is phenomenal. Like it's it's so good. It doesn't taste like anything that it is. And it doesn't taste like turkey meat. It tastes like sausage. It doesn't taste like cauliflower. It tastes like rice. Like it tastes so good. And so we've been doing this E2M program. Now we did take a little break. I might have put 26 pounds back on out of the 60 I lost. And so we're back on it now. And she just meal prepped 14 preps. And today I went and just pulled one out. And I was like, this, I've been eating it for a few days now, but it's a banger. It's really, really good. So it's completely out of left field for me, but it is one of the best meals currently I can have on this program, hands down.
All right, Dan, what you got?
I've been debating because I'm a pretty seasoned cook in the home, but I'm gonna do it for the sake of telling the story that my wife is of very Italian heritage, like a couple generations away. I am not. I am a genetic shotgun blast. A couple of my relatives did, the ancestry DNA test, which I would never do, never give that to random places, but that's a discussion for another day.
That's government.
Genetic shotgun blast. My grandmother is like 97% Irish, like more Irish than most Irish people are, but the rest of me, my grandfather came from no one knows. He was adopted, like left on a step, whatever. So anyway, I just say all this to say, I go, I meet my wife, very Italian family. Her grandmother, it's that like everybody loves Raymond setup. Her grandmother lives out back of their house, like literally a fence separating them. Ray's shaking his head. He gets it.
Yeah.
So she would just cook for them, right? She would just make all their meals. They would just come over, cross the backyard, back and forth, whatever. So I come along in the college days, and she's never let anybody cook, whatever. I'm like, hey, how do you make the meatballs? Fine. She comes, she should, no problem. My wife, her cousins, they've all been trying to figure out how to make this food for years, never showed them anything. Shows me, and very early on in our relationship, how to make the meatballs. Perfectly copied them. So I make very authentic Italian meatballs, make her sauce. I can hand make the pasta at this point. So I'm going to say I can steal my wife's family spaghetti and meatballs that none of her actual family was taught how to make, but was passed over to the guy of questionable descent, just because I actually knew how to function in a kitchen. And the only reason I knew how to function in a kitchen was because I didn't have her for a grandmother, so I was allowed to cook and learned how to do that stuff.
All right, Matt, what you got for us?
So I'm going to take both shots on this one, in that I'm a big fan of when I make my brisket. I bought myself a pellet smoker a couple of years ago because I can't have a actual decent size charcoal smoker, and I want something that I can make briskets, and the time and effort I put into it, I feel ends up being worth it. But the best I've ever eaten is one day I came home, my wife had made from scratch homemade chicken parm, breaded, tenderized, everything with authentic mozzarella cheese, not that store-bought shredded crap that you get out there. And probably one of the best things I had ever actually eaten that somebody made for me. That leaves you, Hector.
All right. Well,
Yep.
just back to back Italian food stories. I don't want to triple down. Listen, you just throw me some pasta, put red sauce on it. If it's like a 4-cheese sauce, put mozzarella sauce. So I'm gonna give you a very non-homemade, but it was like that was the meal I ate almost every day growing up. It's just you get a bag of Goya white rice. It gets cooked in this giant silver metal pot that Abuela that's the only pot that she ever makes rice in. It's just white rice, like that
It's got
straight
all
up.
that seasoning in
Oh
it.
yeah, that that pot doesn't get cleaned; it just gets like cleared out, and then the next set of rice gets put in. So it was that, and then you took a can of Vienna sausages, open that up, you heat up a couple of Vienna sausages, you throw some ketchup on it, and that was dinner on like a daily basis. Like I'll go up. I'm gonna go up to Jersey. I'll see Abuela, and she's gonna make that for me again. Like, she's gonna make some rice, heat up some sausages, like that. That was dinner growing up. Many nights.
For so many years, we had something very similar to that. The only difference is we put a little chicken in there. There's some cream of mushroom or cream of chicken in there, so it's like a bog. Oh, bruh.
So I'll round it out. One of my favorite things, and I miss my grandmother very, very much, was my Nana. She's a very Southern lady, She same way. Is she cooked everything like anything that had to do with like grease or anything in a cast iron pan, a cast iron skillet, everything. She fried eggs in them suckers, and she cooked the bacon in it. So she cooked the bacon first, and then she'd fry the eggs, and then she in another pot she had grits going. Oh my god, I can't match my grandmother's grits and eggs. I can't find it anywhere else, and it sucks because I miss them. And that was just like my favorite homemade breakfast. Every time I go over, Grandma, Nana, we have grits and eggs for breakfast. Yes, sweetheart. And she always had grits and eggs. We had always had grits and eggs and bacon for breakfast. And then sometimes I'd get lucky and she just made boiled peanuts too, fresh boiled peanuts. Oh man, that make me want to go home.
I'm freaking starving now, guys. Come on.
Is this where you call them out? Did you abandon the South? Is this where you get called out for that now too?
So
he wears his shame like a scarlet letter.
He gives me a hard time. No, so I graduated high school when I was 16 years old, and I joined the military as soon as I turned 17. So I got deployed and sent out and stationed in California, and then deployed out to the Middle East and came back to California. Lived there for a couple of years after I got out. I got medically retired from the Marine Corps, and then I met my wife out there, and her family's from California. We stayed a couple of years after I got out, and we kind of looked at it like, it's really expensive out here. We don't really like it that much. The only thing that makes it worth it is the people that are here. All the people are going to leave eventually. So we both of our best friends got married. So her best friend married my best friend, which is perfect. And then they moved out here because that's where her best friend's parents are originally from, is Missouri. And then when we were looking at moving places, we were like, okay, well, weighed the benefits. We only know one set of people. We don't know anyone else. Let's move somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I love it out here. Midwest is great. I like fishing, and there's about 55 million lakes around me. So I guess I'm kind of a trader, but also I don't really like my own family, and they live in South Carolina. So if I can stay away from them, we're good.
So he left South Carolina. Strike one. Doesn't play his PlayStation. Strike two. And he plays PC.
You know what? Fine. If you have a random hard drive sitting around, I'll put an operating system on it, and I'm still waiting on that.
You know what this is right here?
PS4 hard drive that you need to send me because no. So do you want to know what happens? Is I'll be in the middle. Is I've gotten trophies. I'll be in the middle of playing a game, and it'll randomly just cut the application every single game. It doesn't matter if it's downloaded. It doesn't matter if it's a disc. It doesn't matter what it is. It just.
Well, this is yours.
Okay, I still got to send. Did you already send Kalai Super Mario Bros?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I need to send you WWE.
No, you don't need to send me anything.
Oh, she paid you?
No. Kalai and I made a mega trade deal, guys.
Okay, fair enough.
It was, and I can't wait for her to get back from. Was she in Italy right now?
She's strolling around Europe right now.
Yeah, I can't wait for her to get back and open up her package. I do believe that she definitely overdid it for me. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like I owe her the world because she threw so much stuff in this trade deal, way beyond what we had agreed on.
Hey, all I'm saying is if you find any of these for cheap, any type of Game Boy for cheap, buy them. Buy them. I'll
there's
give
two
you.
things in this world that just cheap. They just Vita stuff ain't cheap, and Game Boy stuff ain't cheap.
I sometimes I'll get lucky around here, and I'll see somebody that's selling like one for a Game Boy Color or an original Game Boy for like $40, but there's always something that has to be done to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, I kind of want to do those things to it.
Do it. Do the
if you got that much, it makes it worth it. You get rid of those random lines and just
Well, I do.
Well,
I do cool stuff like this, and like I paint and stuff like that. That was a Razer logo at one point. I do cool stuff like that. So I'm artistic. Don't forget. Sorry, shameless plug, real quick. If we get to 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube for the Loot Bros podcast, I will be giving away a free custom Loot Bros gaming mouse.
Yep, it's dope too. It's so funny. I have a race to 1,000 on my YouTube channel as well, and we're getting there. So, yeah. All right. Is there any more community questions for the Discord?
Oh, and how can I forget All Hail Starscream?
That's right. Did we decide yet? I know we can't do that.
We can do that.
Are we doing
we can do that. No, we can do that.
No, you can do that all day long. Go ahead, Daryl.
All Hail Starscream.
There you go. Oh, hell, Starscream. Anytime Matt jumps in the room, we should just be waiting on him. So, all right, guys. So typically, this is where we get to this week's official topic. Now,
What?
my man. So this week's official topic, we have the Channel 3 crew on. So what I want to do first, before we get into any cool conversations, is I want to give you guys a chance to really dig into what is Channel 3, why should we be involved in it, and how do we get involved in it?
Fire.
Go, Dan. I believe in you.
I say I talk too much, but okay, it's gonna be me. Well, think about everything you hate about the rest of social media, and that's Channel 3 comes in. Channel 3's focus specifically on gaming. So it's a social platform. Joel Willis, who some people may have seen in various corners of the internet. There was a group called the Dad Gaming. He moved on from that last year, went and took his time and set up this website. So it's entirely independent. Hit a year just now, but kind of started with, we start, Ray and I kind of joined up pre the official start date for everything. So back then it was kind of like a Goodreads or a letterboxed, kind of like a rating system almost for games. There's like a library. You can kind of rate your games, share about games, post content about games. Now there's everything in there from weekly events. Ray and I run Fortnite, Fall Guys. There's Rocket League every Wednesday. We've got Marvel Snap events. We've got monthly events like this month we're doing Brawlhalla. We've done Smash Brothers. We've done Mario Golf. We've done Fortnite. We've done all sorts of events on a monthly
Marbles on
basis.
stream. That was a big
Marble. We did a
Marbles on
whole
stream.
night of marbles on stream.
My first marbles on stream I ever played, I won one round.
There you go. So you rate, you talk about games. It's a positive environment for it. Really, as we've been going into, we do quarterly seasons, kind of like a battle pass system almost effectively. Everything's gamified on Channel 3. That's probably where I should have started this out and had a better pitch so Joel doesn't yell at me later for, come on, get the pitch right. Not that he would do that at all, as he's busy programming this entire website. But, this basically takes the social media experience, focuses on games, and gamifies it. So everything you do, you make a post, it gets a one up. We call that one up instead of likes. You get XP for it. Somebody respawns, that's what we call like a retweet or a reshare. You get XP for it. XP builds up. You get things for the site. Every certain number of levels, there are wheel spins. Whether you bought into, we have turbo users that kind of help pay for the site and get some extra benefits. But even if you're not, you get wheel spins every certain number of levels. So everything from like V-Bucks and eShop gift cards and things like that to gear, T-shirts, and whatnot. Prize wheel spins are out there for people. We got the squad up events that are available. We've really been pushing groups as we've gotten into season 5. So a lot of content creators are out there bringing groups over to Channel 3 themselves, creating quests and missions to build XP, events on a weekly basis for their teams as well. So getting a lot of content options that are available out there for everybody at the same time. That's out there for a lot of that. But it's just kind of like an all-around better platform. You don't have to worry about battling algorithms and seeing political nonsense and garbage, and not having to worry about bots coming on and posting spam and garbage and nonsense. Just a holistic, good place to see games. Matt's over there posting battle station updates. You got people out there posting like old gaming memorabilia. I got a bunch of activity today because I was out cleaning my basement and found my Zelda, Hyrule, various Hyrule artwork books and Mario encyclopedias and things like that, and just posted a picture of that for fun and sharing content like that. But there's daily challenges that are available. Today was the 7th anniversary of Pokemon Go for anyone who's unfamiliar. So everybody who went out there and caught a Pokemon on Pokemon Go got bonus XP today. So just stuff we have related to gaming. Ray, what talk about challenges, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can't do this promo without mentioning Matt's poetry on the site. Matt's on the site daily. Every game review he does as a haiku, which is very entertaining to watch because they get really creative too. Some of them are like, "There's no way, there's no haiku for this game," and he puts them together. So that's a fun thing. And yeah, you're just you're in one place where you can post about a video game, and everyone there is interested in it because you're like, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm here to talk about video games. I don't really want to talk about anything else. I want to have that escape." I feel like a lot of times we're not getting that escape anymore. You know, you might go to movies and you can't get that escape. Everything's got some angle to it. And so I think we're really pushing back to have that place to escape, and everyone just gets together and has a good time. I think that's what the site's doing. And if you
That's
like, you
awesome.
know, if you're streaming, you know, if you're streaming, you want to do content, it's very friendly towards that. We're very friendly towards, you know, promoting people to say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm streaming this, come check it out. And everyone really gets together with one another. So it's a good time.
It's organic, but not in your face either.
Yeah.
You know, people come on, they start talking about games. Then when you see they're streaming, like right now, if you go to channel3.gg, you can see we've got Twitch interfaces that are there. So you can see who's live right now on Twitch. Because frankly, I follow a bunch of people just to try and help wherever I can and lurk wherever I can on Twitch. But now I see people who are live on Channel 3 and can just click on their Twitch activity that's on there and pull their Twitches up. At the same time, we've also got a podcast. Ray and I do. Matt was kind enough to be on episode 27. So if you go to c3.gg, we've got kind of like a link tree available for everybody. So if you go to c3.gg/Dan or c3.gg/Ray, you'll find all of our various links to everything. But you know, we've got c3.gg/podcast. That'll take you to all of your podcast locations. Matt did one for us. We call it "What Are Your Three?" where you know we have people come on from the community, talk about 3 games of their choosing, whatever the topic may be. You know, so we got a lot of that to build community with as well. That's out there. Yeah,
I noticed you guys skipped episode 33.
yeah. Episode 33 timed out really inconveniently with, as I mentioned, Joel does a majority of the coding. There are some other folks. A lot of this is really voluntary right now, and Joel putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. He's learned a lot of programming to put it all together. And episode 33 really timed out poorly with the end of season 4 rolling into season 5, which usually we try and tie as much up into as possible. So the re-Joel is coming, the re-Joel Willis. But you know, we've had
So
some
stay
other
tuned.
yeah. But we've had you know, we've had comedians on. There's some folks who have are part of the site that you know, stand up comics. We're working on an NFL interview, probably coming up in the next couple of weeks. We've gotten there as well, so it's just an overall good community. But yeah, anybody can go in and take a look at channel3.gg, take a look at it. You go to c3.gg, you can see all the various links for the sites. It's great for people from a promotion perspective because, like I said, it's really organic without getting in people's faces of like, hey, I'm coming onto your Discord just to say I'm streaming, and we'll see them go away for another week and come back in a week and, hey, I'm here and I'm going to be streaming. Like, okay, that's great. I don't know who you are or what you care about. You're just here for trying to get followers and whatnot. But it's a little more organic, a little more fun in that regard. And like I said, there's a lot of XP challenges and kind of fun while you're doing all that. And good community building while you're at it.
It's very cool. It's very cool. That's something Matt had kind of turned us on to a long time ago. I think he sent us an invite early last year, I feel like.
Yeah, I've had it for a little while now. I don't actively use it, and I'm gonna mess around and see what I can do.
Yeah, I just went in and updated so I've got new logos since I started my profile and stuff. So I went in and just updated all my stuff, and I actually started following a bunch of people back on there that have been following me. So yeah, it is very cool. Now here's my question. I know you can like put in your gamer tags and things of that nature. Is there Discord integration with this site or?
So no, we're actually we're trying to get away from Discord and replace it all. So a few features have gone live very recently. We have in-site chat available now. So first of all, there's like a main lobby that's available for chat as well, but every game has a specific chat room that's available for it. So if you're like, hey, I want to play Fortnite, I want to go open a Fortnite game, you can open a chat in Fortnite. We do have c3.gg/Discord, so there is a Channel 3 Discord for like voice purposes until we kind of get that all worked out. But secretly, and again, as of this recording time, we kind of let it leak to people that if you click on someone's profile, you now have the ability to DM them. And we're finishing up kind of group message, you know, building out separate groups for everything. So we're kind of trying to get away from Discord and take everything that's good about other places and just say, no, just do it here instead. So you don't have to worry about going to other places. So no, we don't have we do have a Discord, but it's just there for kind of like voice chat and things along those lines for the most part, because we're trying to just get away from it. And instead of having to go to like, okay, link tree here for somebody's links and ultimately, like in the runway, we want to get to streaming directly on the site, but at the least, Twitch is tied into the site, so you can tie in somebody's Twitch to that. But
Your
all the
YouTube
stuff that
too.
you go to other places for is all coming here. Is the
Yeah,
idea?
you can tie your YouTube channel to the site as well. That links up and shows up if you were like if you went live on YouTube, it would show up on the channel as well.
And does it
Those-
do that for videos that you post or just your lives?
Just the lives. Like a
Yeah,
little
so,
icon shows up, hey, you're streaming right now.
but if you post your YouTube link, it'll embed right onto
Oh,
the
yeah.
site and link
Yeah,
directly into your YouTube.
Sweet.
So shout out Resident Daryl on YouTube who does his game hunting. And if Daryl were so inclined, he can update people on C3 to show his latest hunts and finds in the wild and, maybe start a flea market group on C3 that you guys can talk trading.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
whole point is to be like this big hub where people come in and say, "Hey, I've got this group, and I kind of need a place for the group to land, and I want to run stuff here." Our event system, we have brackets. You could do Swiss brackets, you could do double elimination brackets. That's kind of been our big thing. We have one group runs Rocket. The Dad Gaming runs their Rocket League tournament through the website now. And that's a big tournament. We do Smash Bros. Do it. We're doing our big Halo season's gone on for 3 months, and that's kind of run through the website. So that's the big thing. It's kind of the hub. So if you want something on the site, it's like, hey, I wish this site did this for me. That's kind of what we're looking to do, and we put in the features for people.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, you say you want a Loot Brothers group, we can make a Loot Brothers group. If you want a quest on there every week of, hey, how many what's your top trophy you got for this week? What's the lowest rarity trophy you've got for this week? And whoever at the end of the week goes through and gets the lowest rarity trophy, then you can give them a tagline that says, Loot Bros Trophy Hunter and for this season, and they get their own little tagline. They can flex on everybody else, and they get a little XP bonus over top of everybody else. And
And keep the
there's
stats.
creation of activities there. Yeah.
So I see my GTTSC teammates are already on here. So Gaz and Rick, don't tempt us with a good time, buddy. We'll any. So I mean, you guys listen to the show. You understand? We do leaderboards. We do backlog beatdowns. We have all these things. There's the annual trophy rarity contest. Or event rather. It's not really a contest, but like we're always doing stuff to plug into our community. So. And Matt has been championing this site for a while. So I do think that we should definitely do much deeper integration with what you guys have going on over there, especially since it's all about the games. And that's what we care about. We care about the games.
And wrestling.
And wrestling games.
Ryan, Jimmy, Ryan.
Jim, no, look here.
As I do get a question for you, gents. Do you guys is it a mobile app as well, or is it just a web-based app right now?
It is just a web-based app right now. I mean, not yeah, it's a browser app. Some people use. If you don't have an iPhone, you can make a little browser app button on your phone. Dan knows all about that.
I know how to do that. Yeah,
More in the works, more in the runway. So there's not you can't go to the App Store right now. It's all browser based.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, more to come. Joel just sent out an update kind of to everybody. If you go and look at Joel or go to c3.gg/Joel, you can see Joel is the founder. He's the guy who's putting this all together. Ray and I just kind of trying to administer and take care of as much as humanly possible as far as like setting up events and maintaining, monitoring groups, etc., to help support wherever humanly possible. But Joel just put onto the site kind of the quarterly update for everything here. And the thing I have to say, listen, there's not an app right now, and probably would be ideal to have an app. And listen, again, on the runway, on the plans for things. But the coolest thing about this is like tech is terrifying, and we'll talk about this probably when we get into the Game Pass discussion about the finances and economics of how the tech world works. But the thing is, like, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears being put into this thing right now, and there's no debt. There's not some fictional money source that's happening here, because we've also been watching, like, okay, there's other people trying to do gaming social media sites, and they're getting backed by these giant VCs, and if they don't have X number of users by Y date, the money's pulled and the site dies, and you keep seeing all these like, oh, this new site that opened up 6 months ago is dead. Like, okay, listen, we're close to 2,000 users. It's been a year, and like that would be ideal, but like we go and we kill bots. We can inflate numbers easily for the site if we just let all these stinking, overseas bots coming from random accounts create there and inflate the numbers and make it look like there's actual stuff there. But it's all real. There's no debt to it. So This thing's being put together organically, and this thing's being put together where it's sustainable and not just sitting there on a pile of fake money that numbers are being inflated to make some VC happy and release more funds for it. So there's something to be said for that, which again, we'll get into my take on the Game Pass situation around that later, because that's gonna be a lot of my pedestal to stand on here. But anyway, yeah, app is on the to-do list. We're working on it. There's kind of some learning in the background, trying to hey, how to build an app, because there's a bit of that going on here while we are trying to do everything through blood, sweat, and tears.
Nice. A little thing to that. And Ray, you said you're doing most of the programming for the sites, right? So you're doing all the UX design and everything for it?
No, not me. Joel is the
okay.
Joel's the designer.
If you guys are looking for a nice beginner course, there is a Google certificate for Android development that is really good, and it's on Coursera. So it's $40 for a month, and you pretty much knock out the course in a month if you have more than 5 or 10 hours a week to mess around with it.
Nice.
Those certificates are great.
I'll say this. As a daily user, I just have the site loaded on my Firefox mobile app, and most of the stuff I do is through mobile. Now, I'm nowhere near a power user. There's some people out there that, again, I don't do Twitch streaming. I don't do a lot of these other integrations. But everything that I see being done on the site is to make it easier for people to talk and discuss and interact with games and gamers. And it's, when Dan came to me last year or a little bit over a year ago, was like, hey, my friend Joel's trying to get this site up. I kind of slacked at it at first. I was like, okay, this is interesting. But seeing the effort the team has put into this site and the community that's built around it, you got people who now know on a daily basis are going to have stuff. You got people who what they're driven to do, whether they're Fortnite or they're Mario Golf or something like that. It's people becoming kind of like mini celebrities in the site. And when Dan and Ray have their What Are Your Three podcast, we're eager every week to see which member of the community they're bringing on. And the What Are Your Three channel will post up a teaser. Hey folks, here's your guess at who's coming on this week. And since you kind of know what the community is and who the big names are, you're wondering who they get next. And then they release their podcast, 3:33 a.m. every Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't know who's actually on at 3:33 a.m., but that is when it goes live.
Yeah, that's
on the third day of the week. We make it
on the third.
We got to trying to stick to it.
That's interesting.
And because Matt was speaking so kindly about the site, I'm not going to complain that he said Mario instead of Mario. I will not bring that up.
Wait, actually, I'm going to make Daryl really sad. So Daryl, on the website, there's a rate feature where you can rate games.
Oh, I'm a rating master.
The first game on the top of the rating list is Resident Evil 5, and guess how many stars it's got out of 5?
Oh, under my profile, 5 out of 5.
It's got 3.6.
You guys can be wrong. It's I know.
I literally just rated and haiku'd Resident Evil 5 today.
How many stars do you give it?
3.
I say it was a 3-star for him. Yeah.
That's my number 2 favorite game of all time.
And it's sad when Microsoft Solitaire has a better rating than Resident Evil 5.
No, you know what? Microsoft, so the funniest thing,
quality game.
So the highest rated game with the highest count of ratings is Super Mario Brothers 3. No argument there.
One of the greatest games of all time.
But the funniest thing was, we've got close to 4,000 games, I think, programmed into the library right now, and we're continuing to build that every day. And my God, the amount of indie games released we're trying to keep up with alone is insane. But I only bring this up to say, very early on, and even still, we have, an admin alert system like, hey, you want to put a game on a list of like, what am I playing right now? Or what do I want to play? Or what game have I beaten or 100%ed? Like all these lists are available. If that's not there, submit an admin alert. And I just say all this to say I was working on going through like putting in all of Nintendo. Like I'm going to get all these games entered in. And I start getting requests for like, did you remember there was that Chex game that came in the cereal box?
First of all, Chex Quest is an amazing game.
Chex Quest was one of the highest rated games we have on the site. Putt Putt one of those like Mac kid games in the 90s, like a 5.0 rating average on that one. The Burger King Sneak King trilogy, those trios of games are on there. Like ridiculous stuff. People are like, oh, I got to get this game on here. It's hilarious to see just what some of the things that get put on here. Because somebody's like, I want the Sneak King game and the Pocket Rocket Bike game from that Burger King put out for Xbox, and suddenly everybody's like, "Oh, I remember that game. That was crazy that they put that out there." And everybody has these like moments and memories around them. But yeah, the ratings are there, and it's fun to see when we have our own enemy of the podcast where there's somebody who went around and just kind of one starred some games. Like, what are you doing? Why are you one starring this game? And they gave legitimate ratings for other stuff. Like, no, this can't stand. But it starts good conversation with everybody. You keep it positive and have some fun conversations there.
Now, we were talking earlier about money and the site and kind of cost to do everything. How does the monetary system work? Because you have tiers, if I'm remembering correctly, right? Like a $5 tier.
Oh, the tiers have gone away. That was a very early system where Joel had set up for the first season of anyway, we've got something called Turbo, right? So you come onto the site, no matter what, you get XP, you level up, the wheel spins are there for you. You get free Turbo at the beginning of every season, so you kind of see what some of the unlocks do, their taglines. We have our own GIF reactions, and Ray, we're not doing this now. We're on somebody else's podcast as a guest. We're not on here as a jest.
And
we're going to call them GIFs.
GIFs.
We're not having this fight. You know what? I'm not doing this.
Don't insult these people's intelligence. GIF.
So we've got custom GIFs that are available. So all this stuff that unlocks kind of like a battle pass, right? That's available there. So there's Turbo that's available for $5 a month to buy into that. Some of the features like getting your Twitch kind of put to the top of the screen there, that there's an automatic go live detection for your Twitch that goes live as part of that feature. Actually, the mini games were a Turbo only feature, but we've now got daily mini games. We've got 3 mini games that are available to everybody who's on the site there. So if you've got time now, go ahead, take a look and play. Yeah, you can see first game on there is Target. That was the first one that Joel came up with where, we've got maps from 2 or 3 games every day. So Fortnite, every day Ray is on there making sure we got a Fortnite. Shows you a screenshot from Fortnite. Click on the map where it was. There's a million pixels, and you get XP based on where you were and how long it took you to figure it out versus how many pixels there were. Usually there's Mario Kart. We'll mix in things like Grand Theft Auto, Spider-Man, all sorts of other games. Horizon Zero Dawn's been in the mix there. We've got Enhance, which shows you a 6-pixel cover art for a video game, and then increases the resolution on the video game screen by screen by screen while you attempt to guess what video game cover you're looking at. And then we finally got Trivia, which gives you 33 answers. Usually it's a video game. Sometimes we've got everything from like Vampire Survivors items and Legend of Zelda items that are available. We've got 175 iterations of Mario through the years, and says, okay, well, which version of Mario was the Mario that appeared in Super Punch Out or whatever it may be. And you have to click on whatever the game, whatever the trivia answer is, and the amount of time you have is the amount of XP you get. So there's free mini games that are available, but that Turbo's there to help support the site financially, give you some extra bonuses for participating. It's $5 a month or $60 for the year to go through that and get you a little extra attention, and again help support kind of running this thing. Is that's how we've been making it work so far. Did that answer your question somewhere in there? Because I forgot about to mention the mini game, since that is a recently unlocked feature going into season 5.
No, that is really cool. Yeah, because like I said, I've used the site a little bit off and on, and I'm actually going through as we're talking, and I'm rating more games because that's the fun thing.
That's how it starts, right? That's how it started for me, because it was Letterbox for games. So I said, inject it into my veins.
Here's a pro tip.
Oh, I was gonna give it, but go ahead, you do it. I think
if you rate the game with the stars first, that gives you 33 XP. Then if you go back in and edit it to review the game, that gives you 13 more XP.
My man.
Mm-hmm.
Build that XP up.
And we left it in there too. We figured it out early. We said, you know what? Yeah, go for it. Take
Yeah,
the-
I noticed.
Take the time.
Everything needs some cheat codes. We're well aware that's a year-old one. We know about that.
I waved the flag. I was like, "Hey, is this a thing?" And nobody really gave me an answer. So I was like, "All right, I'm just going to continue doing it."
It became
Heck yeah.
it became a thing.
Well, the thing that's cool, right, is so like we're doing. Like, I've gone in here before, and I'm going in here. I'm in here right now doing this. And I think, okay, that's an awesome feature, going in and giving like a star rating, because the games that matter to you, you want to go in there like, oh, dude, I want people to know that I like this. So then I'm like, you say I can go back and I can actually write reviews. So I'm gonna add this as a browser feature. And then I'm going to sit back, and when I'm just sitting around, instead of farting around on social media, I might go in and write my Resident Evil 2 review, or I might write my Resident Evil 5 review, and why everyone is wrong for giving it 3 out of 5 stars instead of 5 out of 5 stars, things like that. So,
Bam! Just posted my first official status on.
Oh, hold on, Resident Evil.
Nice.
You just put 3 stars on Super Smash Bros. Melee? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
Hey, you're complaining about Resident Evil 5, and then you do this.
Yeah.
Now,
here's
straight controversy. Yes.
Unacceptable right here.
not a huge fan. Not a huge fan.
Oh,
I'm really trash at Smash Bros. So like, I this puts into perspective my taste. I loved PlayStation All Stars. Platinum did on 2 different systems.
I can't be here anymore.
So yeah, well, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So we've learned a little bit about the site. By the way, guys, we're going to put links for the site in the description of the podcast on the YouTube version and the podcast versions. So what I want to do is, for the last little bit, Nate, you guys good on time? Or are you still good? You guys still good?
Listen, I've got nothing to do but go to bed. So my time is your time.
All right, awesome. Well, let's talk about these subscription services, because Matt got me all riled up, got me all hot and bothered, saying we're going to talk about the effect that these subscription services have on the industry and the FTC court hearings and stuff that's been going on. This is not a news podcast, and I know a lot of people are bowing out gracefully right now because they say, "Oh no, you're talking about this whole thing again."
You said FTC. Rick's like,
freaking hanging
no,
from the rafters right now. He's like, "I'm gonna jump."
Oh no, I have to listen to Tricky again.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't want to go into it from a news perspective. I don't want to go into it from a whatever, fanboy perspective. Fair and balanced, straight down the middle. All hail Jimmy Ryan. And I really want to talk about what you guys think as far as what this is doing for the industry. And if you are up to speed on the FTC stuff, what you think about the new discoveries that have come out about exactly this topic. So Dan, we'll start with you. How do you feel about, Game Pass, PlayStation Plus Premium, Netflix, Disney, whatever? You know what I'm saying?
It's all a bubble waiting to burst. Mm-hmm. Is that where we want to start? I mean, listen, there's benefits to it, right? So I will, in full disclosure, I have Netflix, and I have played one game on my Netflix account, and I keep trying to remind myself to go look at it, because there are games like Oxenfree that people tell me to play. Yep, and are suggested, and it is there available for me on my Netflix account. I just forget it exists, because they do have better games than just like mobile shovelware garbage. The two that I mean, the big three, right? Are we going to talk about the big three as, I guess, Nintendo's online service, PlayStation and its indeterminate tiers? I say as a PlayStation fanboy, and the 3 tiers of nonsense. Which, Daryl, my God, you have put real effort into saying which tier things are during the course of this show, and that has impressed me through the course of this, just so we're clear. And then there's Xbox Game Pass, which is a financial minefield, because, and I'm going to start with, let me start there, because I can't figure out how Xbox Game Pass is going to survive for much longer. I can't figure out, frankly, how Xbox is going to survive much longer. These day one games that they've got on there, the amount of money that's going into these top tier games right now, and the fact that they're like, no, you know what? Forget selling them. Forget licensing them to anybody. We're just going to include them in this way too reasonable service price. It doesn't financially make sense, and they keep throwing money into a dumpster fire, and I can't figure out to what end. Like, listen, I'm not pleading for Microsoft, saying, hey, Microsoft needs money, help them out over here. They're not sitting on the corner begging for change, but it's not going to be sustainable, and Xbox is not going to be there. And frankly, I think we kind of know that. We know they're all working on streaming boxes and trying to figure out how to make cloud-based gaming work, and Microsoft is probably ahead of Sony. Let me rephrase. Microsoft is ahead of Sony when it comes to cloud-based gaming, and they're going to win that battle. And if they can figure that out, Google's already pulled away from it. Amazon's kind of there plugging away at it with Luna and making it work very quietly. But anyway, I just failed to say it. Like Xbox putting all of their eggs into that basket, and financially speaking, it doesn't make sense, and they're gambling on it. Whatever. From a gamer perspective, hey, listen, it's great, right? You get Game Pass out there, and you get all these day one games. What's wrong with that? PlayStation, you don't get all the day one games the same way. The tiers are confusing. PlayStation Plus Essential is what it's always been. You get your free games out there. You get your Jedi Fallen Order that you guys were talking about last week. It's on. Hey, that was free on PlayStation Plus Essential like 5 months ago. I was yelling that at my phone, listening to you guys from your last episode, saying like, no, if you had PlayStation Plus, you got it free back in like November before they did that the month before the game came out, guys. You could have had it right there, ready to go. The other tiers are confusing. I have the highest tier for it, not humble brag or anything like that, but there are more games on there than I realize there are.
Mhm.
There are games like I can't even describe it. What was you mentioned inscriptions on them? Like I literally, when you said that, I go over to my app on my phone. I'm like, oh, it is on there. Okay, I guess I have no excuse not to check inscription out now, as people keep recommending that to me as well. But there is a pile of games in there, including all of Ubisoft's back catalog. That I don't know if Sony knows what they're doing from a marketing perspective. Sony's winning the AAA game, first party game, next gen system battle, in my opinion. Right? I don't even know if Xbox knows they're aware of it. Like maybe they're participating. They're just hoping Starfield's going to be good. Nothing else has worked for them. But anyway, I just say all this to say, like, PlayStation's a mess of just like stuff. You don't get the day one games, but I don't want the day one games because I want these companies that are out there making games that are not Sony and not Microsoft that like go ahead and make money on these games so you can continue to make games. I insist you please here take my money so that you can continue to make games that I like and that entertain me. And then there's again Nintendo I mentioned just because like okay great I have all the NES, SNES. Nintendo 64 is aged horribly, and I don't know whether that's a bad porting or bad transfer, but they've also put the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance on there now. Like that's just fun to have that stuff in the background. I know it's not the same conversation that the Game Pass and PlayStation Plus are in, but like financially speaking, I will end my rant just to put up in summary. I don't know how this bubble's not going to burst soon, boys.
Yep. All right, Hector, where do you stand?
I mean, isn't this all just like it's a new version of a rental system? Like you rented games when they were physical. The Blockbuster rented games, and Netflix sent you DVDs in the mail, and then one day they decided to put everything on streaming. GameFly has the discs, so we've been renting games, and game companies have been putting their games out, saying here's our copy. I mean, I can go to the library. I can go to my public library right now and rent a game out. So there are places where these companies are still giving out their games. I get the whole money thing. I don't know how Xbox they claim that they're profitable with their system. I'm hard pressed to believe that's true. I don't have any knowledge on the PlayStation tiers and all that stuff. I don't play PlayStation. I haven't had one since like a PS2. But I think the three companies are going different directions. Microsoft doesn't care about their system. I think they put the 360 out. There was great games on the 360. I mean, I played Gears of War was like what I played there. But I just don't think they care about their consoles anymore because I mean you can play everything on a PC, and it's getting more and more on a PC. And it feels like they're like, hey, we'll throw all the games on, and we eventually everyone will buy a computer instead, and we'll just run a bunch of Microsoft for everyone to do. PlayStation will keep making these amazing AAA, sit down on your beautiful TV screen and play games. And Nintendo's gonna keep being the family system, and they're gonna be very happy putting those games out. I mean, I think Nintendo's AAA games are the best. I think anytime it's a game and it's exclusively a Nintendo game, it's almost always perfect. And so I'm going to sit and play those because I love them, and I'll play them with my kids now too. The PlayStation people are going to sit and they're going to play these great stories, and Microsoft is going to fade and have this system around. Like I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's a bad idea if a company says, hey, we'll pay you developers to make the game, and then we'll give you some of the money back. Super Nintendo, Nintendo used to say, hey, you can put games on our cartridges, but you have to pay us for the cartridges. It just feels like a next iteration of something that's like been going on.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. We're going to go to Sir Starscream himself.
Oh, where is he? Where did he come in suddenly? So I alluded to it in our Facebook chat group. You guys that have been talking about the fear of games going away, physical ownership going away, is being exacerbated by the fact of these streaming services and GamePass systems and monthly fees. And you're right, because honestly, I think Super Mario Brothers was the last movie I actually bought, and before that I couldn't tell you, because everything's so convenient. My brother and I share a Vudu account, and anytime we buy a movie digitally, we add it to the account so we could watch it from our TVs. But look what Netflix just did. They're enforcing their password sharing policy, which is you need to pay to have an account. Whereas at the beginning they were love is sharing a Netflix password.
But Matt, not to interrupt it, like, why are they enforcing their policy now?
Because they're losing too much money.
Because they're losing money, and they're
being held accountable for their money. Yeah,
yeah, and now, you thought that there was going to be this mass exodus, and Netflix posted record enrollments in it, and that just means they now have you by the balls. They know what they've got, they know the service, and they're going to charge for it. Xbox, we're seeing that now. And frankly, I'm surprised that the price didn't rise on Game Pass Ultimate earlier. It was a long time coming. So we're talking about market share. We're talking about feasibility, and is it worth what you're getting? It's one of those things I've had on my monthly payment for years now. I canceled Netflix. I said I don't want to deal with a company that's going to go back on what they've done for so long. But that wasn't entirely it. There's nothing on Netflix I watch anymore. It was just wasted money, and I kept getting charged more and more every other month. And I said, all right, I'm not going to spend that money. If there's something that absolutely comes out, I'm going to wait till it's all out, spend it for the month, and then binge it. And this goes back to physical ownership. And yeah, I am as scared as the rest of the crew, where as companies move more towards a Game Pass-like system, that we are going to stop owning games. Technically, we've never owned games. Games have long since legally been held that what we own is the license to play the game, and having the physical disc or the cartridge does not necessitate us having the right to play that game whenever we want, because a company can send out a kill code. Now that everything's connected to the internet, they can send out a kill code to all their consoles and say, no, we don't want you guys playing our games anymore. And they could write that into their end user license agreements, and
it's already there.
There's nothing you could do. So ultimately, this is the next phase, and it's being sold to us in a matter of convenience. You want to play your Xbox games? Play it anywhere. Play it on your Xbox. Play it on your PC. Play it on your phone when you're out and about. It's convenient, and I'm willing to pay for that convenience. But the second things stop becoming convenient, I stop caring about it. And, what did we do? I bought the Nintendo voucher, so I can get Tears of the Kingdom for help me out, guys.
For $45,
I got it for $25 less, basically.
You get it for $45 if you got the voucher from Costco.
And exactly. So I even went to Costco and I got it, so I can get it cheaper. But then my mind started going, all right, I don't want to stick to just having a digital copy. I want to be able to play it when I want to play it. So we went and bought a copy. My wife can play that copy on her Switch, but we now have a physical copy available. And it all boils down to whatever anybody thinks, whether it's Worldwide's franchise Jimmy Ryan, or I'm sorry, Phil Spencer, or international gaming sensation Jeff Keighley. They want to sell you a product. long gone are the days, except for maybe some indie devs, long gone are the days that these companies want to make you a game that'll make you happy. They want to make you a game that can make them money. Coincidentally, most of those games are going to make the gamers happy. I'm just as concerned as everybody else saying that these services are going to force physical media out. And that's what everybody keeps talking about, that these last consoles might be the last consoles that have physical media on it. I think we may have one more cycle. But what these services are doing are in a way helping us avoid spending unnecessary money, because there's a whole slew of gamers out there who were going to buy Redfall day one, spend that $60, $70 and be met with trash. Whereas I just spent $15, saw it and said, not for me. Meanwhile, I can go play these other games. And because companies are making it more difficult for you to return software and media, it's a service like this kind of makes it viable. Whereas in the past, you could say, I'm just going to wait for a day one review. I'm going to see what they say in the reviews first. But then they pull a Gran Turismo 7, where after day one, suddenly they start activating all these microtransactions and other things that might inevitably change that game score. So that's where my thought is. I know I said a lot, but it's a convenience that we're now giving up a portion of what we used to do in gaming.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, Zach.
I have stated my opinion on this a million times. I think it's convenient. I think it has its place. Its place should be for old games and games that we aren't necessarily as readily available to, especially with the cost of physical media going up, because it is becoming more and more scarce, which is sad and depressing. And there's a reason Daryl's making money doing it. I don't have a problem with subscription services, but if that's your only outlet and your only form of income, you're doing something wrong as a business. And what really drives me nuts about it is the fact that we look at games like Halo Infinite, for example. If that company was releasing the game, didn't release the game day and date on Game Pass, they made it a physical release where they had to have the game complete, and they knew they were going to get paid or be able to see a number, that team probably would have worked harder or came up with some more creative ideas for that. So I think it's really taking away from the companies making the games too, because they're like, oh well, now I'm just making a game that's going to go on a subscription service, and a bunch of people are going to play it for a month, and then all my hard work over 6 to 10 years of developing this game is for a month of notoriety. And that's the worst part, is there's a lot of indie studios that make really good games. Well, now they're getting kind of shoveled off to the side because more people are like, oh, I get to play Starfield day and date on Xbox Game Pass. Like, they're not paying attention to anything. They're looking at these subscription services saying, hey, what do I have on the subscription service that I can play?
Very well said. I like it. All right, I am going to bring up the rear with I've been saying for a long time that subscription services are whack. And this is as an avid subscription service user. Okay. Like, as a person from the music industry that watched subscription services kill purchasing music and therefore making it hard for me to sell my own music. Like, I use Spotify. I freaking love Spotify. I live off Spotify. But you know what happens whenever you let your Spotify subscription lapse? You lose all your playlists and all your, like, I don't know, that's kind of it. But I mean, like, that's your stats, that's your save file, that's your thing, your footprint in Spotify. I use it like crazy. I use Spotify more than I ever imagined I would, and it trained me to no longer purchase music as a person who creates and sells music. I use the Voodoo account. Matt said that you and your brother share a Voodoo account. Me and my brother share a Voodoo account. We've got 400 or 500 movies in there, and I love it. I absolutely love. I have a playlist in there of the Snyderverse, all of the Zack Snyder, movies, and and it's just, if I'm going to use Voodoo and I'm like, I don't know what I want to watch, we always go default BVS first, and then let the rest of them play. and I use it. I'm also an HBO Max subscriber. Okay. I was a day one HBO Max user because I wanted that DC content. I wanted the stuff that was on there. I still buy physical media. I still buy my movies. I still buy all my animated DC films. I still buy the movies that I really want to have. Really want. I'm a collector. So I like the physical media. I like having it. I love the digital code to put it in my Voodoo. I've got the convenience. And when the internet's out, or if I'm in the mountains, I'm at the beach, or I'm in one of these places that I have notoriously traveled to where internet access is dodgy, I can have whatever it is that the thing is that I want. So I like physical media first, and then I like the convenience of subscription services second. You guys have heard this. This is nothing new for a Loot Bros listener. Now, one of the things that has intrigued me so much is that I've been in our podcast and in our Facebook channels and our Discord saying, hey, by the way, guys, we just had this conversation last week in Discord, or right before Kalai and Jim went out overseas. I'm like, hey, this isn't sustainable the way things are going. And the problem I see with someone like Minecraft, geez, listen at me, Microsoft, when they announced the day and date of their first party stuff, I've been saying since day one, that's a terrible idea because it's going to come at a cost. It's either going to cost you the quality of the games because no one's going to buy them anymore. All right. Or it's going to cost us, the Microsoft fans. We're not going to get what we want. And that's something, if you listen back to all of our episodes over the years and years and years, you can always hear me say, hey, wait a second. And again, I feel like I need to put my resume out there. I am an Xbox fan. I was an Xbox OG user, still have one, 360 user, still have it. I've got over 100,000 achievement score, gamer score, whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't until PlayStation 3 in 2012 that really brought me back from the Xbox side, and then I've still had Xbox ever since. And for years and years and years, I paid for GamePass that I don't use. I have always been a PlayStation Plus user since the internet hack or whatever. And when they started giving us free games back when they had the instant game collection, I've been saying for years, guys, I've been there through all that stuff. I had my Xbox Live. I had my PlayStation Plus account when it became a thing. And I'm an avid user of all of these things because I see the value that they bring to me, the consumer, the customer. But I do see the danger when you start giving things away, at least, especially the goodies, what I'm saying, that first party. And the thing that I've always said that makes these companies different, the identifiers that make them different, are their first party offerings. At the end of the day, an Xbox Series X and a PS5, they're not that different. Your thumbstick's a little different, your D-pad's a little different, your user interface is a little different, but you're kind of playing the same looking games. Third party, the majority of what anybody plays is third party games anyways, and they all kind of look the same everywhere you play them, with the exception of the Switch. But then you have the portability. So the benefits, the playing field's not so different anymore. There were years where things were different. So that first party is what is for me as a gamer, that's what I'm attracted to. I want to know where the games are at. I want to know where that stuff's at. So for years I have said, hey, wait a second. I see a glaring issue with a brand that I supported and spent thousands and thousands of dollars with for a lot of years of my life. And I, take offense to that because I'm like, hey, I would love more than anything to be in such a desperate tug of war between PlayStation and Xbox that I literally don't know where I'm going to play the next game. I wanted it to be difficult for me to choose where I was going to play AEW Fight Forever, but it wasn't difficult. I was like, you play on PlayStation. That's where I'm going to play. And that is sad to me that the current state of the gaming sphere is that it's not hard for me to choose where I want to be. Now, I'm a very specific type of gamer. I like my achievements. I like my trophies. Those things matter to me more so than they should. And I really like to play on PlayStation because I like to stack my trophies and platinums. I like the controller.
He's dirty.
That's right. I love, the sticks being together, not, staggered. That's a personal preference. I think that my man. I think that the Xbox 360 controller and the PS4 controller are two of the best controllers ever created. I think the DualSense And the haptic feedback and all the little bells and whistles it does is almost perfection. Like it's so, like I love the comfort in the way these things play. So there's a lot of things that attract me to a certain platform outside of, the games themselves. But at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for. I'm not a gamer because of the controller. I'm not a gamer because of the subscription service. I'm a gamer because I like games. And I see I think we all can agree, and anyone listening has seen since Game Pass's inception, a very strong dip in quality from that platform. And you can't necessarily draw on a map or a whiteboard that, hey, this is specifically the issue, but we've seen the issues over and over again. And we keep saying, hey, wait a second, this isn't sustainable. Hey, wait a second, this isn't good. Hey, wait a second, they're going to lose money. And they are losing money. And all these things have been confirmed in the FTC hearings this past week. But also, like Zach had pointed out, Halo Infinite would not have launched the way it launched if, in fact, it wasn't going on Game Pass. It wouldn't have been. I don't believe it would have been piecemeal. I believe after the Master Chief Collection, if your only source of revenue was that you were going to buy this game, it would have been delayed until it was complete, and it would have been released complete. And personally, there's no way to prove that because we didn't get it that way.
Well, can we talk about a different game? You brought up Redfall. Redfall already came up in this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Has a single copy of Redfall. Is there anywhere we can find out if any human being purchased a copy of Redfall?
I don't know. Never. And they don't
put a gun in my head. I would absolutely wager not a single human being purchased a copy of Redfall.
I've never met anyone.
I don't think you ever will either.
And that's a problem. And then that's a bigger issue because who doesn't chart on the NPD? Xbox.
Well, I mean, as of 33 minutes ago, there were 29 active players on Steam, and that means you had to have purchased the game as opposed to buying on Game Pass.
Yeah, so those are Microsoft employees.
Find me those 29 people.
Those are Steam. Those are review codes.
Arcane people. Yeah, those are people with codes.
But see, that's the kind of the problem, that we keep seeing, and yes, for those of us out there that have called it out. I mean, I've personally been met with scrutiny and a lot of pushback. We have a panelist here on the Loot Bros podcast, and she is a diehard defender of Game Pass, but not for any merit of its own, other than I just don't have to buy games there anymore, which is a problem because when you don't buy games and the money's not coming in, like, it's always funny. And I've heard I don't think I'm smart enough to articulate this as well myself as an original thought, but some of the things I've been saying have been said by people way smarter than me and more complete thoughts. And I'm going to basically butcher their quote, but essentially, when Xbox comes out and says, no, Game Pass is profitable because people who play Game Pass buy more games, they never factor in the development cost or the opportunity cost of all these games that didn't get purchased because they were played on Game Pass. When they say, hey, as an Xbox proper, we are X amount of dollars in the profit, and these are the amount of subscribers we have. Well, you can always do the math and say, okay, well, you have this amount of subscribers, which means you made this amount of money if they all paid full price, which we know up until recently that was not the case. Everyone was doing that whole dollar deal. They finally shut that down. But it's like, let's say hypothetically everybody paid their $15 and they were there. That means you have X amount of millions of dollars. But if your AAA first party studios are making $200 million games like your competitor is,
that's low end. 200 million is low end for a game.
Well,
now.
They just said last week that Last of Us 2, $220 million, not including marketing. That's development cost. And then Horizon's Forbidden West, $212 million. Development cost, not including marketing. So my thing is like, well, if you break that up, your first party studios, and God knows the amount of studios they have, that would eat up all of your revenue hand over fist based on the subscriber count you have. And that doesn't account for the licensing deals you pay for all the third party stuff that you're bringing over day and date. And so this is me. I do finance for a living, and I used to do purchasing and operations management for 11 before I did this. So I know that there's a development cost to making, again, weightlifting equipment. Okay. There's uh, your actual marketing cost to get out there and sell the item. And then there is your opportunity cost for every deal that you make where you say, hey, Mr. Coach over here, we're not supposed to give you a free gym if you buy your school's weight room through us, but companies like us did that. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's a sale you missed by giving it away to make a deal. You see what I'm saying? And when you look at these subscription services, that's essentially what's happening, is that you're giving away a sale in hopes that someone will subscribe and kind of forget about it, and you'll recoup over time. And if the amount of subscribers gets big enough, then eventually you will become profitable, but you're going to work in the negative for a long time first. And case in point, Matt, you mentioned Netflix earlier. All right, Netflix worked where they were barely making any money.
No, they don't make money.
Well, they're profitable now, according to some of the more.
Are they?
Well, I think it's 2017.
They're hitting projections. That's not the same thing as actually making money.
See, but it's like you lose money to get market share. But the problem is, Game Pass is kind of stalled, and it's stalling because its first party isn't putting out games. It's not putting out bangers. Whereas the competitor is over here saying, hey, guys, that's not sustainable. We're not going to do that. We're just going to focus on quality, and we'll just make sure that our quality just gets better, better, better. And I'm not even talking about PlayStation. I'm talking about Nintendo. Case in point, Zelda. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to put quality out, and you will go where the quality's at. You don't have to have less. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can still do this the way it's always worked. And this past week, this was like, I was riding on the road. I'm like, normally I imagine when people listen to the Loot Bros podcast, they're screaming at the speakers like, oh my God, these guys are freaking idiots. They said this wrong. And I wait for my opportunity, because that happens. I listen to a couple podcasts, and sometimes I just freaking lose my mind. I'm like, you guys are so stupid. Even I would have got this one correct. But I was listening to a show the other day. I was riding on the road. I said, oh my gosh, it feels so good when they're reading out the quotes and the emails and the things from this FTC hearings. And they're like, no, worldwide franchise Jimmy Ryan says, under oath, mind you, okay, that I talked to all the big publishers and they're not fans of this. And then Bobby Kotick, soon to be head of Xbox Studios, says that, like, not only am I not a fan of this, he goes, but we wouldn't put our games on there.
So I'm going to jump in there, because I talked about this on the Trophy Horrors previously, where, and Dan, you can agree with me on this. Generalization does not equal fact. Because when somebody generalizes something like, oh, I talked to all the publishers. He didn't talk to all the publishers. No, he talked to maybe one or two, and now he's generalizing that to make the statement fit the narrative he's trying to push. And Bobby Kotick, fuck Bobby Kotick.
He's coming. That's going to be your daddy soon. Now, here's the thing. Let's think about that, okay? I used to work in a manufacturing company. I just said that, right? One of the guys that owned it, he rubbed shoulders with multimillionaires all the time. That was his friend zone. That was his friend base. He was a multi-business owner who was co-owner of the business I worked for. He made a lot of money. He used his money to make more money. And the company he kept were guys like him, right? Jimmy Ryan ain't hanging out with Resident Daryl. We ain't on the same level. The people that Jimmy Ryan talks to are people like Jimmy Ryan. They're your Bobby Kodaks. They're your Strauss Zelnicks over at Take-Two. You know what I'm saying? They're your Peter Molyneux. they're the guy over EA. And like, he is talking to these people because that's his people. Also he's talking to those people because they're brokering their deals together. I broker deals for lenders. So I got to know what they're doing. I got to know what their programs are. I got to know what the money shakes out, what it looks like. Because in order for us to do business together, I got to know that it's going to be beneficial for my customer. Okay. Jimmy Ryan is going, hey, Mr. Take-Two, I got to know that you're going to be producing games, and then this thing's going to make money because my man, Resident Daryl, he's got to buy your game through us. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe, sure, it is generalization, and he didn't name drop. But if you go look, Strauss Zelnick from Take-Two, He's on the record in their financial calls multiple times saying, no, it's not sustainable and we don't want any part of it. Okay. Bobby Kotick, soon to be head of Xbox Studios, just said that he didn't want their Activision games on there.
No, of course he doesn't, because he wants to expand his product to as much market share as possible.
And eat those
And that's
dollars.
why Xbox is going out to Nintendo and going out to and saying, no, we're going to keep, if this goes through, we want to keep this on your platform for this amount of time. Obviously, A, to serve their case against the FTC, and B, because yes, that would be profitable to them to keep their market share out there as much as possible. So that way they could sell games and have games on Game Pass. I think that's ultimately what they're trying to do, because they don't care where you play. This goes back to God, it was something you had said many years ago where Microsoft was paying Sony to have games on their system. This would now be the reverse of that, where Sony's paying Microsoft to have games on their system. So they want to advertise that. And I'll leave it at this, because out of the most interesting things that came out of that case and alongside the case was that Xbox missed their annual revenue forecast by $780 million. Nearly $1 billion. They missed their forecast, but that was only 5% of the miss that they advertised. So obviously they're still doing something right. And that's just a forecast. And Dan and I know, for planning many years of forecasting, in our former lives, when we're looking at budgets versus what we're forecasting versus what we could potentially what you could potentially make, forecasts change, and they change on many factors of the market. And the end result is, if it's a 5% or it's a 50%, those are two very different things in that financial world. And again, going back to what Jim Ryan said, without naming specifics, maybe in a court setting, somebody forgot to ask, well, who exactly did you speak to? Because I'd be very interested to know that. I'd be very interested to say, you're generalizing that you spoke to all these people, but what exactly was said under oath, sir? What and who has said to you? Obviously, depending on NDAs and things like that, but what is so bad about the service? And you're going to try to say everything you can to make the case for your argument to win that side. And again, with Bobby Kotick, fuck him.
He's coming.
Hey, one thing I do want to say though, so the thing I do like, and you brought it up several times about the games you're playing, the PlayStation service bringing back these PlayStation portables and bringing that's the thing where Nintendo's getting this right, I think. Give me all those old games I wouldn't have access to otherwise. That's the kind of thing that a subscription service is perfect for.
Yes.
I mean, I have never considered dropping the PlayStation Plus outside of the fact that you get your online access and everything,
cloud
like that,
saves and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but the access to the games that I have without having to break the bank or devastate something financially or mortgage the future of the gaming industry, give me access to that stuff. Good. Go ahead, take my money for that. Give me the access to it. Sure. I think that's where they're getting some of this right with the whole pass system.
And I agree, and I think that goes back to something Zach had said earlier, and I champion that. Yeah, absolutely, give me the back catalog. I mean, I play. My gaming taste has changed so much over the years. I play more old stuff than I do new stuff now, anyways. So for me, it's yeah, absolutely. I'll gladly pay for Game Pass if you give me Xbox games. Give me Brute Force with trophies. Give me Dino Crisis 3 with trophies. I bet. Or achievements. I didn't mean to say trophies, but you know what I'm saying? That's a terrible game, by the way. One of Capcom's worst games they've ever put out. Okay. And arguably the worst Xbox exclusive that has ever existed. But I'd play it, put it on there. I think that is the perfect place. I think that putting the cart before the horse and saying, hey, we want market share so bad we're willing to give up our goodies. You know what I'm saying? And there's, because then you just have devalued everything. And that was one of the things that was said in those conversations, was that the other publishers feel like that the subscription model, and they were talking about Game Pass, not the general subscription model, but the one that gives you all the new stuff for the same premium price as the old stuff. It's like, hey, it's value destructive, because what you're doing is you're teaching people, like Dan said, like, who do you know? Raise your hand if you bought Redfall. No, it's doing just that. And our own cast member says, hey, I don't buy games because I have Game Pass. Why would I do that? And
part of my brain is being eaten alive by wanting to know who those 29 people are still.
The fact that it was 29 and it was actually double digits, it's kind of like,
it's too specific. Yeah. It's too specific.
So, and so as a avid subscription user, okay, currently I've named out games and shows I'm watching. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite saying they can't work and it won't work. It's going to fail. They're going tits up. I just think that the avenue in which they in those emails that were shown, they had conversations like, wait a second, like, Matt Booty and Phil Spencer were like, dude, we should we back out of this? This is 2020, 21. And Matt Booty was like, nah, man, we can't now. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. And that's the unfortunate problem that they have now. And the reason why they're trying to gobble up everybody is that they have to feed this beast. They have to feed this machine. Whereas Nintendo, they're like, we didn't paint ourselves into a corner, boys. You're going to buy the next Zelda. You're going to buy the next Mario. And then we'll give you, those SNES, NES, and 64 games for a yearly fee. That's fine.
Yeah, the thing is, too, I mean, you keep talking about the movie subscription services, but like that bubble, if that's a balloon, the air is already let out of it. Like you see outside of the actor, writer striking situations all revolving around that as it is, like you're looking at stuff, even Disney now, you're just seeing stuff disappear from the service.
They have to. They're writing it all off. They're not. That's the thing too. That, like, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I was reading an article this morning. They're vaulting content and they're writing it off as a loss
because otherwise they have to pay people otherwise.
Correct.
So it's worse in movies and that branch of entertainment, which has been tech driven. Mm-hmm. And again, the tech driven mindset of to tie it back to things I was talking about earlier, money's not real, right? And they have just funneled money that does not exist into this, operated at a loss, and had no accountability for it. But the problem is, at some point, the checkbook has to be opened up, and there has to be payments made. And guess what? Like, it doesn't exist. So all these other services, your Paramount, your Peacocks, your Maxes, your Disney Pluses, all try to catch up to Netflix, but Netflix was never real. And the thing is, they're all about to burst. Max was bought by a tech company, right? All these companies were bought by other tech companies operating on these tech company budgets. But the system that's underlying and underneath of it isn't a tech system. And it's about to collide and it's going to pop. And the fact that two of these three gaming companies have, and not even, and again, Sony, I don't think is like fully stepped their foot into that pool. But Xbox has. And it concerns me how much they've invested into that, what that's going to mean. Because as much as, listen, I'm not an Xbox guy. My brother had an Xbox. He was the Xbox guy. I always had fun with it. I joke about being a PlayStation guy over an Xbox guy. I don't want to see Xbox die either.
No, definitely.
There needs to be that third horse in this race to keep the competition up. And it just kind of scares me where that potential is.
Mm-hmm. But I'll add this to the conversation in that whether it's a subscription service or whether you're paying for a game, we're all facing the same thing. Because look at what happened to Destiny and Destiny 2. That was a game you paid for. That was advertised as a live service game. And what did they do in the last couple of years? They vaulted content that was in the base game. Nothing to do with service. Just you paid the game. You paid for the game when it came out. Guess what? Content that was there when you bought it is no longer there.
Because
items that you... What was that?
It's because they made it free.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether you paid for the game or you played it when it was free. They are now locking away content for items that you paid for. It's not relegated to being a monthly fee for service anymore. Anything that is connected to the internet can be turned off if it was determined that it was not profitable or it's costing a company money.
Or if some sort of political view has changed. Now, I'm not saying necessarily the politics in the way we initially think about it, but like, company A might become company Z 10, 15, 20 years down the line. They might say, you know what, let's retcon this old stuff. And that's a huge fear of mine. It's like seeing things change the way they're changing now. Or earlier we were talking about things getting, that kill list. It's like, this EULA says I can take this back from you. PT was the canary in the coal mine for that. Like PT, sure, we didn't pay for it, but we had a digital license that was attached to our name. And when they decided they wanted to pull it, they pulled it from the back end, and they proved to us that your ownership means absolutely nothing, because when they want to flip the switch, they will flip the switch. And I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we talked about other games that happened. And one of them being a TMNT game on the Xbox 360. I bought it on Xbox Live, and the license was pulled. Yeah, I know. I don't own it anymore. It's gone. It's completely gone from my profile. And I've got achievements to prove that I had it and I played it, but I can't download it anymore.
So yeah, I'm still traumatized. Like I just referenced the Max thing again one last time, because like, I've got a 10-year-old autistic kid who, there's a show called Infinity Train, which if you have any way to watch that, dynamite animation show. But they just yanked it one day, and he was literally in the middle of watching it again for like the 5th time. And I'm like, I got to find this and go buy it on Google Play now. Cause guess what? A disc doesn't exist. Physical media doesn't exist for this show that was just on Cartoon Network that somebody strung together. And now like it's gone into the ether. The creators come out and said like, hey, doesn't exist anymore. Myself and the other people who worked hard on it, they used to get like a little pittance of a check for it. Like, doesn't exist anymore. Oh, well. Yeah. So there's some of these things with these games that are digital only that like, will they exist in 5 years? Who knows?
No. But, and you know what, though? And we can start landing playing with this, because I know I've been keeping you guys for a long time. Even the games that are on the disc, like Matt said, if it's connected to the internet, it's no bueno anymore. I am looking up at my PlayStation 4 right now, just the cross media bar, and WWE is bringing it back to wrestling, 2K18. When we were doing the trophy contest, I had my PlayStation 5 going over here, and my son wanted to play wrestling over here. So I was like, okay, cool. We'll just put in the disc. You can use my characters, my unlocks, all that stuff. We'll just turn this console offline. Okay. And then we're online over here playing my digital games, because this is not my primary console. My primary is in the other room. And I kid you not, the minute you go offline with the disc copy of WWE 2K18, it no longer loads. Doesn't work anymore. What do you need to be online for a wrestling game where the servers are already closed and the community creation stuff's locked out? Nothing. But it's just proof that the deeper we get into these generations to where physical media can be manipulated and you do or don't have access to everything, it's scary times for games and ownership.
You just gave me a headache talking about the primary console thing. It's an entirely different conversation.
Oh my gosh. I have nightmares about it, because I own 2 PS5s, 4 PS4s, too many PS3s. I think I have 6 in the house right now.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Exactly.
9
Multiple
PS
Vitas, Vita TVs, all that stuff. And the problem is, I play this weird dance of how I'm going to buy games so that me and my 2 boys have access to them. Okay. So I've got like the PS5 that I use, where I just log into it. The PS5 that my oldest son uses, that's his PS5. I buy my games digitally or download them digitally so that they can use that as the primary and anyone can play them. And then my youngest uses the PS4 Pro, the Spider-Man one, but that's my primary PS4. So if I buy a game that's you get both versions, Ray's is like, oh gosh, you're losing me here. In order for us all 3 to play together without having to buy multiple discs, I got to buy it in such a way and stage it all up. But then what happens is Sony's like, oh, no. You hopped your name between 3 consoles. Now you're in timeout. So now, even if you restore your licenses, it might be 20 minutes before it'll click over and let you use it, because I hopped too many consoles. And I'm like, bro, and I've called them before. I got on the customer service like, hey, I own every console you've ever put out. I own every version. Why is it that when I'm trying to use them with my name, with the licenses that I just restored, there's an issue? Well, we have to do that because of game sharing and console, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I own it. I can prove it. Like,
And the poor hourly person having to answer that call, God help them.
they're like,
just answering whatever's on the computer screen. Yeah.
like, dude,
Well, you don't own it.
yep, that is the problem there, because they're trying to tell me I don't own it. Well, so again, that's why I really leaned into PS3 collecting, and because PS3 turn it offline, my games work.
There you go.
I sold my 4. I kept my 3.
So I have the backwards compatible 3 in here. So I got PlayStation 1 through 3, and then I have the PS5 beside it. So 4 and 5 in the room. But I buy and sell and flip video games all the time.
20 PS Vitas. And
So I have
5
nine Vitas.
PSPs.
Yeah, I have 3 PST. I just got another one the other day.
Useless technology.
I know.
Okay, that might be, listen, normally I'm not one to judge, but that might be an indication you have a problem.
Dude, I know it's terrible, isn't it? I've got a lot of crap, and I like it. I like having the stuff. And the thing is, I sell a lot of it too, and trade a lot of it, and so it's cool. And I met somebody like me recently, but the difference is he's smart and he can fix consoles. So I've got this bin of like, I don't know, 12 or 13 broken consoles. I'm trading it for games. He wanted them. He had games I wanted. I'm like, let's go, man. PSP stuff. I'm so excited. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So we're gonna land the plane here, gentlemen. Is there anything else you guys want to say, before we get out? Because I've kept you a long time.
Hey, I'll just tell you, if you go to c3.gg/the Loot Bros, that now exists.
I saw it.
So it is publicly accessible. There is I even put a little quest in there specifically for your folks to come in and check out
For Daryl's addiction.
Just asking their favorite. So if you go up into the Loot Bros there and take a look, and you can see there's a quest in there now for taking a look and seeing what your favorite game achievement trophy is. So you can even hop in and do that, and little something special for the group there. But we can add and explore from there. But again, just come check it out. The daily mini games are there. If nothing else, listen, if you got time this is more fun and more game oriented than pulling up Wordle when you're on the toilet first thing in the morning.
That's right.
I have to say, probably if you monitored where somebody was in their home, the toilet would be the most active place for those mini games.
Absolutely.
First thing in the morning when people are cracking it open. But
I will say, don't forget, first thing in the morning, also check. You get a daily XP spin.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
anywhere from 5 to 333 if you get the ultra legendary.
It took me almost the entire year to get the 333.
And I got like 3 of them within a month.
It's ridiculous.
I
didn't even know it was real.
It's all programmed in odds.
I thought it was a joke when someone posted a picture of it. I was like, "That's not a real thing, dude.
My son got it.
We don't
twice.
have we don't have that feature. Like that's a made up picture." I was like, "No, I've never gotten it."
So you guys will be able to see the answer for the favorite. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, you'll be able to see it too.
Everyone can see it.
Yeah, if you click on that quest, you can also see that specific quest. So when you answer that quest, you pick the game in question for what it is as well. So if you say, okay, platinuming Marvel Spider-Man was my favorite achievement,
Done.
you post a screenshot of it. You can look at the results page and see, hey, what are the games that were put in as the result? And 22% of them were Horizon, 10% were Spider-Man, 5% were whatever. You can see the results in the rating. So we've got stuff like, who's your favorite Street Fighter character in the history of the franchise? And Blanca was just over Chun-Li for like that as a for instance. So
I love that the answer was a turd burglar as your best thing. Because our latest podcast, we had the phrase "keep your poop in a group," so it's like it all comes together.
That's right. Yeah,
I didn't think I was going to see Duke Nukem Forever being referenced. as I say, I believe both Matt and I had that one pre-ordered for a significantly long time, and I still have the bust of
you, Daryl, and I have the Duke Nukem bust.
That's right.
The Duke Nukem bust is back on the shelf over here, along with those crappy Vegas coin chips or whatever they were that came with that, and the dice or
So
whatever.
bad.
Same. I love that game. It was. I love Duke Nukem, and that game came out, and I was like, this is everything I wanted it to be. It's just so cheesy. It's so Last Action Hero.
Yes.
So I love it. It's awesome.
I'm so glad to hear someone reference that movie in a favorable light. Thank you.
Guys, you guys are gonna have to come back occasionally. I want to throw this out there. Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time. This is when we rock and roll. Anytime you want to come on, you guys have an open invite. Appreciate you coming on here. I personally will be much more involved in the site. I think it is very awesome, and Matt, to his credit, has been star screaming your praises on this site.
Good reference.
So subtle.
The only time I'm going to allow that.
That's right. And it's good stuff. And so I would like to challenge the Loot Bros community to get more involved on Channel 3. We have our own little room. We have a quest. The Duke has been represented. I don't know that it can get any better unless you all go on there and give Call of Duty Ghosts, Resident Evil 2, and 5-star ratings.
So
not
if
giving
you click on
5-star rating. Sorry.
You click on that little that lightning bolt turbo at the top there, and you hit that referral button, and it'll give you your referral code with like channel3.gg/join referral. For both of your users' names, for the Bearded Nerd and Resident Daryl, you get 1,000 XP for every referral code activated. So
I think
you boys can take over the leaderboard for the season, which that is I will tell you, that is a coveted position.
Commodity, being number one in that leaderboard each season.
Does the person joining also get that 1,000 XP too?
That's a good question.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
I think they do, because I actually had my tagline I have right now is for getting over 1,000 XP in one of the seasons, and I was like, all I did was sign up and follow like 2 people. How did I get 1,000 XP? And I think it's because I used Matt's referral code.
That might have been it.
Probably is the case. I don't remember. I know if you create a game list, you get 100 XP. Game reviews are 33. Game ratings are 33. Events are the place to really get some XP going for you too. System, you can rate systems. You can review systems.
That might systems. Be the case, the Neo Geo was shit.
It's in there. Go ahead. There. Take a dump on it. Go right ahead.
And we're back to the bathroom.
That's where it always.
We're always in the bathroom.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
That's where the switch understood.
Yeah. But thanks for having us, though. In all seriousness, it was fun being on here. And again, sorry for any jumping in where I shouldn't have through the course of this. But appreciate you having us on.
We're not that orderly.
No, you guys, y'all fit right in. This was everything it needed to be, and then some. So awesome. All right, Zach, you got any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Peace, love, and chicken grease. We'll catch y'all guys next week.
There you go. All right, Matt.
Soundwave superior, Starscream inferior.
Oh, that's pretty.
All hail Starscream.
Dan, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No, just thank you guys. Check out the site. Hit me up for any questions you have, or if there's any kind of we're taking recommendations all the time. There's some stuff takes a little longer, again, like an app or something like that, but there are features that get implemented. Frankly, I mean, Joel's been in a fury this past week implementing features. So if there's something you want from events, things like that, then we can make it happen. So I'm just excited to see people on here and seeing it continue to grow over the past year, and looking forward to the continued growth. But thanks for having us again.
Very nice. And Ray, you?
Shout out to Elephant Mario. I'm playing more Mario games with my kid, and that's what we're looking forward to. Mario Wonder, Elephant Mario. I'm here for it. Everybody keep playing more Mario games.
So I am currently sharing the link with other gaming podcasts that I'm friends with. So we'll see if we can get you guys kind of floated over there and in their circles as well. Appreciate you, Ray. Appreciate you, Dan, for coming on here and talking shop and having a good time with us. Obviously, the Loot Bros boys over here. Appreciate you guys for coming on. Dropped a new Resident Daryl YouTube video today. So if you made it this far in the show, please go check it out. It is a little different than the ones I've been doing. Instead of doing like shorts, like the off-camera pickups, I try to sprinkle those in every now and again. I had like several, like a lot. So I just kind of made one video that goes from like, here's a pickup video, here's a pickup video, here's a pickup video. Not a whole lot of actual live game hunting. So something a little bit different, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Help us get to, and by us, I mean me and my children, get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And when we do, we're going to take every copy of Connect Adventures that we find in the wild to the shooting range, and we are going to lay waste. So we've been planning our road to 1,000 is what we're calling it. And we're going to have a target set up to throw axes at copies of Connect Adventures. We're going to obviously have a handful of guns. And so we're going to be shooting them. And then we've actually had some friends that one guy owns a video game store. He said he's going to donate some copies to the cause. So we might actually bring him out and let him shoot some copies too.
I think the most beautiful thing about this is not about the destruction of a game. You've talked about the altruism that for the people who have copies of this, you're going to increase their value by decreasing the amount of copies that are in the world by throwing an axe at one and strapping one to a firework. It's a beautiful thing.
FTC's coming after you next. Inflating prices.
Well, we are going to have
this is a new GameStop, new GameStop roulette here.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a good time. So we're going to make it to 1,000, and then we're going to celebrate. We're going to go to the range and have a lot of fun. And then who knows? We might, by then, the community might have decided who the next victim is, and they might want us to collect another group. What's really funny is I started looking online at wholesale lots, and I'm getting offers now because I've been viewing them on eBay of buying hundreds of them at a time for discounted prices. So, let's just say we filmed that video. We launched it. We were at 370 subscribers. We're at like 401, 402 now. So, it's a nice little jump in a week. So we're very excited about it. And since then, we found 5 copies of the game. One of which I sent you guys a picture. Actually, I had just put a drill bit through my thumb, and I forgot to hide my all busted up, janky rat thumb. But like, we went to a random Salvation Army on the way to Georgia, and we found a copy, and it was broken. Like, the disc is cracked and it's separated, and they wanted $3 for it. And we're like, hey, this game doesn't work. Can we buy it at a discounted price? And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, we're just gonna we're gonna take it to the range and shoot it. And they're like, oh, give us 99 cents. I'm like, deal. So we literally bought a broken copy of the game. That's how committed to the cause we are. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. So we're super excited. Kids are all on board. My nephew's on board. My son's friends are on board. Like, it's a running joke now. So here's the thing. As a dad who's just enjoying his life with his children, this might not do anything for us as YouTubers, in quotes, and this we might never make it to 1,000, and that is totally fine. The amount of laughter and silly ideas and stories that we have created with my kids for just this past week has been so priceless, invaluable time with them. So we're having a blast. If you guys all want to come and join us, we would love to have you. If you watch the videos and you say, man, this is total trash, that's all good too. We're having a good time, and we just hope that, a couple people enjoy what we're doing. So, all right, that's it. That's what I'm going to end it with, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been the Loot Bros podcast. And always remember,
I got your next suggestion.
What you got?
We Fit boards.
Dude, we see a lot of that.
Oh, wait.
No, it's the Donkey Kongas are you can buy them in bulk.
We Fit boards, people buy and repurpose them for fighting games.
Really?
Oh, it's like Fight 6.
Like Street Fighter 6, put kind of arcade boards on top of them.
Ah, like a riser for it?
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea too.
Put the buttons in it and everything.
That's really cool. Awesome. Well, hey guys, just remember, before Bobby Kotick takes over Xbox,
oh my God,
they raised the price of Game Pass after giving you Redfall. You're welcome.
Down. When we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down, bodies buried in the ground. I don't care what the media says, in the end we all bleed red. This is who we are now, a nation divided. We broke up cars and start riots in the middle of we fight. I can never hate a person based off their skin. Hate creates hate, it's like it's never an end. I'm sorry for the ones that have lost their lives. I'm sorry for the loss of I into the lies. Everyone is equal, you're not better than me. I'm not better than you, I'm just speaking the truth. We weren't born to hate, we were made to love. One nation under God, when is it enough? How much blood have we shed in the land of the free? There's so many dead. Stop the hate, we still have time to turn it all around, it is not too late. Search your heart, make things right. You could lose your life tonight. It's about to go down. When we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down. Bodies buried in the ground, I don't care what the media says. In the end we all bleed red, this is who we are now. A nation divided, we burn cop cars and start riots. No love for our fellow man, it's time for a change. We will no longer remain quiet.
How many people have to die at all both hands to make us realize we're committing
I
genocide?
will not budge, God is on my side. Time for us to step up and do what's right. You can hate on me, you can put me down, but my message stands, I won't bow down. Take your hate, take your lies, take these scales off of your eyes. We see things so one-sided, it's no surprise we're so divided. I'm praying for you, I'm sending love to everyone under the sun. Let this hate go from your heart, run this race and finish hard. We can fight this fight together, squash the hatred, love forever. My heart it breaks every single day to see people who lost their way. It's about to go down. When we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down. Bodies buried in the ground, I don't care what the media says. In the end we all bleed red, this is who we are now. A nation divided, we burn cop cars and start riots. No love for our fellow man, it's time for a change. We will no longer remain quiet. It's about to go down. When we say enough is enough, stand together, put the guns down. Bodies buried in the ground, I don't care what the media says. In the end we all bleed red, this is who we are now. A nation divided, we burn cop cars and start riots. No love for our fellow man, it's time for a change. We will no longer remain quiet.